Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Congratulations for being here a little bit early, and congratulations to Tower over on Twitch. Good job. First comment of the day. Tower, you win the prize. And just want to remind everybody, we had some questions recently across the social medias and the emails. People wondering where the episode went. Well, we'll talk about it on the show, but they pulled last episode pretty quick. So it seems like the crosshairs are back and trained on their primary target. So make sure to head to CanaryCry.Party. If you go to CanaryCry.Party, you'll find all the links you need. You can join the newsletter, receive all of our sources every week. You can also become a producer, all sorts of fun stuff. But over there at CanaryCry.Party, you will find links to all the places that we stream, and therefore all the different places that have just a chance, just the slightest chance of having last episode not be censored. So Odyssey, Rumble, I know Rumble had a little bit of trouble with the last episode, but Odyssey, DLive, all sorts of fun places, including Twitch, that you can find last episode if you're looking for it. And just go ahead and join all those and follow us on all those anyways, so you don't have to email us when you find a missing episode. All right, go ahead and do that, folks. We got a good show for you lined up today, so buckle your seatbelts, stay hydrated. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is October 27th, 2021. This is episode 403. And today, Good Info Inc. and Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And as some of you pre-streamers heard, our last episode was taken down off YouTube almost immediately.
In record time,
yeah.
Yes. It was very impressive.
Yeah, as soon as we posted it, they were like, no, can't do it. Medical misinformation.
Think so
yeah.
You think things are going to be easy. Just because you're back from vacation doesn't mean that our censorship team is took any break. So that's what's going on. I said in the pre-show, you can find it all over the place, though. Cool.
Yeah. And CanaryCry.Party for all the different avenues. But I did appeal the strike, and they told us, we reviewed your content carefully and have confirmed that it violates our medical misinformation policy.
That's the thing.
We know this is probably disappointing news, but it's our job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for all.
Safe space for all. That's weird, man. All we do is just read the mainstream news. So they should take it up. They should take it up with the M5M.
I think it's our opinions.
No, opinions don't count. Opinions don't count. But, Gonz, there is some good news, and that is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
We made it.
Just get hyped.
Day. Yeah. Let's see. I want to give a quick shout out. I do not know the name of the person, but we got a nice little shout out on No Agenda the other day, which is always fun to hear. Fills my heart with butterflies. I don't know who it was.
MK Ultra, is that an MK Ultra trigger for you?
Yes,
you get called out on No Agenda, activated your butterflies in your body.
Manchurian programming. Somebody in Cincinnati at their Cincinnati meetup gave us a shout out. I don't know who it was, but whoever you are, thank you very much. It's always fun.
All right. Yeah. Spread the news on the No Agenda show. We're
More and more no agenda producers and listeners are finding the show, and we're very happy about that. It's a familiar format, but there's a different angle on things we pay attention to, and of course the sort of spiritual home for a lot of people who don't get that over there, which is totally cool. We're glad to have you here.
And those guys are 1,000 episodes ahead of us, and I noticed that we do 3 shows a week, they do 2. And
we'll catch up eventually.
We'll catch up, but we lost some ground during our little break. Yes. I noticed, but it's okay, And it was funny because in their 1400th episode, they were talking about how, we tried to do 3 and life fell apart when we did 3 episodes a week. And I'm sitting there going, "That's right, we're doing 3. We're doing 3 episodes a week. 4 might cause some health problems, but
I don't think we could do much more.
I
don't think we could do any more. It's already enough. It's hard to live life and do 3 episodes a week. Tower in the chat, who was our first commenter of the day, if you were in the pre-show, you heard that. Tower says they heard about Canary Cry from a No Agenda meetup a few months ago.
Oh,
there we go. We're infiltrating. We're infiltrating the No Agenda.
The Canary Cry spooks going to the NA meetups. That's how we do.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should get into the show so as not to alienate any more people.
Sure.
Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Let's start with a Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, folks, time for a Flippy update. If you're new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We like to pay attention to Flippy because, oh man, I'm off my groove.
Yeah, you haven't messed that one up in a long time.
No, I can't even remember. I can't even remember how it goes right now.
We talking about Flippy.
We like talking about Flippy because
we like it.
We like it. We talk about Flippy.
Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh, I've completely lost it. Because the robots are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Oh my gosh, my brain. So today's Flippy update comes from Wattagnet, specifically from wattpoultry.com. Listen up, farmers. We've got a robo-farmer update. Robotics can streamline breeder cage-free layer management. What does that mean, folks? I had no idea, but we're all going to learn together. A ground-based autonomous robotic system is programmed to interact with chickens, allowing it to safely navigate the house environment without harming the chickens. You know what? It's about time, Gonz. It's about time these robots stop harming our chickens.
It is about time. That some of the, at least in my lifetime, the earliest sort of activist footage that I remember seeing as a kid was the treatment of chickens in
treatment of chickens and the McDonald's chicken nugget.
Yeah, the chicken nugget. Yeah, and then McDonald's coming out and saying our new chicken nuggets now with real chicken. And you're like, well, what were we eating before?
What was there before? So we need the robots in the hen house.
Yes.
Because there's too, you can't let a human man in the hen house. They're too brutal and abusive. During the second webinar in the Poultry Tech webinar series. Yeah, what other news? What other podcast is covering news from the Poultry Tech webinar series? That's right, folks. On November 2021, Wayne Daly, PhD, Georgia Tech Research Institute, will discuss how the robot can actively sense and characterize bird status as it moves through the house.
Yes, bird
these
status.
Robots can sense and characterize bird status as it moves through the house.
Talk about birds aren't real. I mean, this is like the surveillance apparatus spying on themselves, their own creation.
It's really just roboticizing the drone maintenance program for all these fake birds. Custom algorithms enable the robot to search the floor areas of breeder and aviary houses for floor eggs and dead birds. Gonz, never eat a floor egg.
They're abandoned. Something's wrong with them, I guess.
Yeah, and dead birds. This robot is an intelligent system equipped with a suite of sensors, including environmental sensors, 2D and 3D cameras, and a small robotic arm. There he is. There's our little buddy. The webinar will also highlight artificial intelligence to gamify poultry labor performance. We got to gamify the poultry labor performance, Gonz.
To really get the dopamine activated in those chickens.
We got to activate the reward systems and get them addicted, just like the rest of us are, to Candy Crush. Low workforce availability in the poultry processing industry continues to be a result of high turnover, absenteeism. I don't know why I find that so funny. These dang poultry farmers, and their habitual absenteeism, improper and inadequate training and injuries, et cetera, et cetera. Goes on and on. But, the main story is Flippy is the fox in the hen house. The robots have now infiltrated our poultry industries. And so kids out there, if you are thinking to become a chicken farmer, it's no longer a viable option. But they will gamify it for you. It's no longer is poultry farming a job. Now it's entertainment. It's a game. It's fun.
Yeah, the website here says that the webinar is sponsored by a bunch of names here, but one of them is Arm & Hammer. Now, when Arm & Hammer changes their logo, because they're pretty well known, they got the cleaning supply stuff.
Oh, classic American industry.
Yes,
industrial empire. Yeah.
When that logo turns into like a robotic metallic mechanical arm with a hammer,
the strong man arm, it turns into a Flippy arm.
They can actually shift pretty quickly here into the robotics industry, at least logo wise and everything else. Instead of just the products, now we got a machine that can just wash your clothes and your dishes and all that stuff. They can.
If Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum gets his way, Arm & Hammer will turn into robotic arm and hammer and sickle.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Okay, so there you go, folks. And yes, we have fun with the Flippy update, but it is just another example of robotics working its way into the very basic foundation of the economy, which is, sort of entry-level jobs, lower-level jobs, menial jobs, which are sort of the backbone, or in the past have been the backbone of the American economy. Making job availability and income available to those who don't have a master's degree or even a bachelor's degree or even the opportunity to seek for, other work. Not that I'm saying poultry farming can't be rewarding, but it's these entry-level positions that are at risk, and it may seem silly, but the dissolving of entry-level positions are what keep whole groups of society out of the workforce entirely, because how do you get a higher-paying job? Well, you start with a lower-paying job. So, anywho, it is just another example of how the floor is being pulled out from under
the chickens.
Usually, not just the chickens, but also the lower end of the workforce.
Sure, the entry level stuff. Yeah.
That's our Flippy update.
Yeah, there you go. And I think some of what you mentioned there in terms of the workforce, or at least the job opportunities, and a lot of that old world industrial revolution cultural type of thing is withering away, along with the robots taking the jobs anyway, and then socially engineering everybody to not want those jobs at all. Along those lines, we're going to talk about the New World Order here.
We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. A new world order is possible. When do we want it?
Yay.
I'm so glad we had a chance to play that.
I know. All right, so this is from Axios. It was published, at least our link, on Yahoo, because Yahoo just republishes everything. The headline, Reid, Hoffman and George Soros back new media firm to combat disinformation. George Soros fighting disinformation, baby.
Thank goodness. What would we do without
George Soros is jumping into
the author
battle.
Of our reality, George Soros.
This is in line. This makes a lot of sense. Remember when Soros came out a few weeks ago and was like those Chinese, better be careful about those Chinese. They're trouble.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like that was just a big marketing setup for this thing.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was all prep. So here's what it says. A new public benefit corporation backed by billionaires Reid, Hoffman, George Soros, and others is launching Tuesday to fund new media companies in efforts that tackle disinformation. Hey, maybe we can get a chunk. We can sell that.
So finally our chance to get some Soros money.
I think this is Soros sees the writing on the wall. He sees where independent media is moving. And yeah, of course, he's going to cast the net. How many people can... Or are not desperate enough, but just would not realize the Soros problem, in the truth media or alt media, especially newer people, and just like, oh yeah, cool, sweet, we're part of this thing, and take the money and run.
This is a good motivation for people to become producers of the show.
Yeah.
Don't, because
no opportunity wasted.
Things get too tight around here.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to turn to Soros, baby.
Prevent. If you don't want us to get money from Soros, then please produce the show. Why it matters. Good Information Inc. aims to fund and scale businesses that cut through echo chambers with fact-based information. As part of its mission, it plans to invest in local news companies. Oh, no.
Good.
Local news companies.
Which means George Soros will be owning your local news.
Yeah.
Local news being sort of the bastion of the maybe not a bastion of truth, but a stopgap.
A
stopgap.
A stopgap. There you go.
You've got the sort of national news organizations that just kind of take their scripts from the narrative crafters, and we've seen that this happens at local news as well. But at least local news picks up on little stuff going around with their their sort of journalistic independence. We get a lot of stuff from local news that we can't get from the national news. Yeah.
Before the eye of Sauron can, gaze down upon some of these journalists at the local level, they can just publish a story that exposes some stuff. I got a little more here. The group will be led by Tara McGowan, a former Democratic strategist who previously ran a progressive nonprofit called Acronym.
No way.
All caps acronym.
So it's an acronym
of an
that
acronym.
Spells out acronym.
Yes. So progressive.
We're being punked. This is a big joke somebody's playing.
Acronym invested in for-profit companies that build media and technology solutions for progressive causes. It ran one of the largest digital campaigns to defeat President Trump in the 2020 election, totaling $100 million. Interesting. One of the companies it invested in, called Shadow, made headlines last year for contributing to the delayed reporting of the Iowa caucus results. Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, backed Acronym, which, by the way,
we've a lot of news coming from the Hoffman, LinkedIn C-suite.
Yes, because as we reported the other day, WorldCoin. I mean, we reported it months ago, but then it officially launched with $1 billion in its war chest. WorldCoin. One of the guys that helped out WorldCoin is Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn. So WorldCoin, scan your eyeball into this orb.
Look into the orb.
Directly connected to the same guy who is funding Acronym and is also part of this Good Information Inc. with Soros.
Perfect.
Do we not? I mean,
good.
What?
We couldn't make this up.
How do you, I don't know. I guess if you're just in that world, you don't see it or something. I have no idea, but money, I guess, just makes everything run. And if you can just turn a blind eye to some stuff.
And one of the things with Hoffman, and I think this is part of why we've heard so much from him recently, is because of the Great Reshuffle, the Great Resignation, the Great Reset, the whole thing. He's sort of become a thought leader in employment in the job market.
Yeah, and he's
kind of the Zuckerberg. Where Zuckerberg might be sort of the master of fake news or something, or I don't know, socializing on the internet.
Yeah, there hasn't been like a crazy scandal behind this guy Hoffman. At least a big public one. The other guys have. Everybody.
To be, though.
Yeah,
that's
there
part
will
of
be.
That's part of the thing. When you like Hoffman, I mean, when we've seen it over and over and over, especially from Silicon Valley guys, when they start getting in the public eye a little too much, when they start to take their place on the pedestal of mainstream news and using the media for their own personal gain, this is when you start seeing the scandals happen.
Right.
And I hate this. I mean, LinkedIn, there's so much possibility for scandal too.
Yeah.
Even down to like Me Too stuff. You talk to any professional woman on LinkedIn, and I'm sure your wife knows exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, we know.
LinkedIn is sort of the spookiest place to be for a woman on the internet, or at least somebody in that world.
Well, we won't get into it, but yes. So interesting individuals here supporting this good information. But here are more details. Good Information is launching with a multi-million seed investment led by Hoffman and joined by investors Ken and Jed Duda, Insight Ventures, and George Soros. We are, quote, "We are disclosing our investors because we believe, especially right now in this environment of mistrust, that transparency is really important," McGowan said. I love this. Acronym faced a FEC complaint last year that alleged it wasn't transparent enough about Courier's backing. The complaint was eventually dropped. Quote, "If I could do things differently, I would have been more transparent," McGowan said.
That's hilarious. They're saying we're disclosing we're disclosing our investors because we believe that that it's just important to be transparent. No, you're disclosing your investors because you got busted for not being transparent. You're not doing this on your own volition.
And it's hilarious because they're like, presenting our transparency, George Soros supporting our project. It's funny how all of this has become one giant. What's that show where the celebrities wear a mask and then they like perform, and then the Masked Singer, is that what it's called?
Yep. Yeah.
That whole that is that big mind control psyop project thing, especially with how we're going to have a lot more official quote unquote avatars on the internet and keep our anonymity. That reveal aspect of it, Mr. Basil Rosewater, who has been playing the long game with the reveal.
I've been wearing a mask way before it was cool, man.
I know. This is what gives us cred, so I appreciate your venture there. But okay, let's get back to the
real quick. Not to go too deep on a rabbit hole, but
sure.
Sexy Beasts we reported on that TV show, where it's a dating show, but everybody wears really
the masks,
horrible looking masks.
Yeah, it's some kind of hybrid. Costume, but it's very
very chimeric, very very funky that way. I watched a couple episodes and just wanted to gouge my eyes out. It is the worst show. It is just the worst show.
I think you're supposed to not pay attention to the substance because that's the part that slowly destroys your soul or quickly, and just be enamored by what you're looking at, which is grown adults trying to find interest in, trying to find a partner while dressed as animals.
And you know what the problem is? They call it Sexy
That's not
Beasts.
enough of a problem?
No, one of the additional problems. They call it Sexy Beasts. Everybody, they put whoever the makeup people are they are pros, man.
Oh, I did see that.
Incredible
that is
costumes and stuff. But it's all really horrible to look at. Like, it's really unsettling. And you kind of get mesmerized by it just because how they make them very ugly. Like, they're not good looking masks. They're very ugly, very scary to look at. So this whole time it is really the most sort of like brain confusing MK Ultra hypnotizing show, because you can't look away because it's so horrible in every way, and the masks are so ugly, and it's so disturbing to watch. Definitely don't recommend it. But, fitting into the larger concept that you're talking about, yes, the avatar, it really brings into the real world this idea of an avatar, an anonymous avatar, which ties into the metaverse, which, don't worry, folks, we're not going to go on a metaverse rant again yet. But if you listen to last episode and our breakdown of the metaverse, it's all tied up in that. Yep. So, anywho, moving on.
All right, back to the Good Info Inc. here. Good Info Inc. will invest in new businesses and solutions that tackle the disinformation crisis. That could mean funding new or existing companies that boost news from existing news outlets. That sounds like us, Basil. We boost news.
We're boosting, man. See, this is what they don't appreciate us. We're boosting the mainstream news, and yet we get censored anyways.
Yeah. Although backed and launched by progressives in giant bold letters, thank you, Axios, is making sure people read that line. Although backed and launched by progressives, McGowan says the group could make investments in entities across the political spectrum so long as their editorial standards support fact-based information, according to them. Right? I mean, that's still... Okay, great, thanks. That's not saying anything. No. She points to The Bulwark, a center-right news site founded in opposition to Trumpism, as an example of the type of right-center news outlet it could find. I've never heard of The Bulwark.
I have. We've read a story or two. But again, notice how they position it. They have a token conservative site. The Bulwark.
And that's
it's a token site, and of course it has to be stated that it's anti-Trumpism.
Yeah, and let's assume, I have no idea, if the Bulwark is just kind of like us, like some independent kind of news, breakdown, whatever thing out there, and they get mentioned in a Soros article, this is a great example of what we, and I mean, if that happened to us, I'd be very upset. I'd be like, oh, really? Don't make us
the... me. I'd be checking the mailbox every day for that check to come in.
No, because if it happens to us, it's going to happen, and then no check. That's just how it's going to work.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. When Soros comes out and approves of Canary Cry new stock, we'll just we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Sure. This is another quote. The information crisis we're in is so much bigger than politics, McGowan said. McGowan will sit on the company's 5-person board, which will be announced by the end of the year. It would include 2 investor-appointed members and 3 management-appointed members. Good Information Inc. will acquire Courier News from Acronym for an undisclosed sum as part of the deal. Courier Newsroom is a local news group with a progressive perspective. There are currently over 60 people that work across 8 local newsrooms full-time.
Interesting. So it's like an infiltration.
It's
a progressive infiltration operation.
Yeah, sounds like something that can easily go down to,
they
a lot of...
place people in local newsrooms across wherever.
Right. McGowan says she was recused from Acronym's negotiations to sell Courier because she was still on the board of Acronym when the purchase was being negotiated. Deal terms aren't being disclosed. Good Info Inc. will acquire Acronym's FWIW
Deal
newsletter.
Terms are not being disclosed. Whatever happened to this transparency they were bragging about? They're keeping a bunch of private, secret deals with newsrooms across the country. Excuse me, you were just bragging about your transparency.
Yeah, and you're not disclosing the part that contains all the legal shields for propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so basically, that's it. I don't think there was any...
No, there's just a list here. The latest example of investments by billionaires targeting disinformation. You want to just run through that real quick?
Yep, you got Craig Newmark. He's the Craigslist guy. Steve Ballmer, former Microsoft CEO and current owner of your Los Angeles Clippers. Yeah. Lauren Powell Jobs. There you go.
There she is, the
There
Atlantic.
she is. Yep. So that's an infiltration into the truth-telling side of the media, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Air quotes. What's next? McGowan says the group's goal in the next year is to raise more awareness about immediate solutions to counter disinformation before it spreads.
Yeah. You got buzzword salad there.
Yep. So there you go. I mean, this is moving forward, I guess. You got money. You got Soros. You got Reid Hoffman.
Worry.
You got WorldCoin. Everything's going to be just fine.
Yes. Soros and WorldCoin and LinkedIn Emperor Hoffman and Atlantic Princess Lauren Powell Jobs, Microsoft CEO, and Craigslist guy. Solving the disinfo problem in our world. I just can't wait to
jump on board that bandwagon. Yeah. And along those lines here, I think the reason why Soros is doing this, partly, I would say, is because of the climate of the disruption that has taken place in the entire corporate banking system.
Yep,
the shake-up, the shift,
the whole thing,
the reset, the whole deal.
Experiencing.
Yep. So it's one of those things where the initial sort of hit was the whole, obviously, COVID, but the ripple effects we'll see for a while. So I think this is one of those things where we're seeing another wrinkle or ripple, but it has to do with just confusion. We've talked about ESG, the environmental, sustainable, and governance measurement tools,
social.
I guess. Social.
Environmental, social, and governance.
Yeah, social and governance, yeah. A way to measure compliability to the 2030 agenda and everything else. This comes from the World Economic Forum. Do you want to do this one, Basil?
Straight from their website. I'm updating some admin stuff. Why don't you take the read on this?
As the world gathers, this is the headline. As the world gathers for COP26, here's how leaders can dispel ESG confusion. Again, this is the worldeconomicforum.org website. So they are directly addressing this idea that it is confusing lots of companies. Point number one, the true litmus test of net zero proposals at COP26 will be the degree to which the public and private sectors commit to agree on priorities and determine how to work together. Okay. Sounds like somebody else is in charge here.
Again, sort of nonsense, but all right.
Confusion and fragmentation have grown on how to evaluate ESG policies, how to compare them, and even what constitutes a sustainable investment in the first place.
Yeah, see, it's funny. They're asking the same questions we've been asking.
I know, it's hilarious. The whole time we were reporting on this over the last several months at the least, specifically pertaining to ESG, the big question was always...
we've been doing for at least a year.
Yeah, the whole thing was, okay, how? How are they going to do this? What are the exact... Because none of it made sense, especially if you're going to apply it or force these companies to apply the policies and the thinking. Third point, it is key that gaps in tracking progress / comparing performance increase transparency. There it is again, transparency. And the shift from agenda to action are bridged to maximize the potential of ESG policies. Blah, blah, blah. As COP26 approaches, both industry and government will seek to best prepare their proposals to address the climate crisis. Much will be analyzed in the weeks to come, but the true litmus test will be the degree to which the public and private sectors commit to agree on priorities and subsequently determine how to work together. Blah. Same thing again. I got some stuff highlighted. I got stuff highlighted. The world clearly wants to move toward sustainability in climate and other areas. The world clearly does. At the same time, confusion and fragmentation have grown on how to evaluate environmental, social, and governance policies, ESG, how to compare them, and even what constitutes a sustainable investment in the first place. This topic has gained significant attention from investors, policymakers, and society more widely in recent months amid concerns over greenwashing and the ability to meet the ambitions of the Paris Climate Accord. All right, so moving down here, tracking progress, comparing performance. It would be beneficial to have a simple and easy way of tracking progress and comparing performance across business, banks, and all sectors of the economy, with examples including the Sustainable Accounting Standards Board, SASB, now maintained by the Value Reporting Foundation, or the EU Sustainable Taxonomy. This is fascinating. Like, it's just kind of... Yeah.
Well, what we're seeing is an interesting translation. They're trying their hardest to translate ESG from a social activist, social justice warrior thing. Now they're having to translate it over to business and numbers. And what does this actually mean? And what is, on a practical level, how does this sort of manifest in actual business? Like, okay, you got us. We get that this is the vibe we're trying to give out, and this is the PR behind it.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean?
Yeah. Do we have apps? What app? That's what they're saying. What app do we log into to do this? We don't have an app.
Exactly. They're fine, which is again what we've been saying for a year, which is okay. We're done with the social justice mumbo jumbo. What does this actually mean for business? Like, how does a business person comply? And this is what they're trying to. These are the people they're trying to talk to and trying to translate this whole movement into. And as we're seeing, it is not easy.
No, and I think so. Again, World Economic Forum, somehow they're like the parent of all corporations on earth, and they're like, here's how you get in line. You get the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. Here you go. You report to these people. It's maintained by the Value Reporting Foundation or the EU Sustainable Taxonomy. They will be your overlords. Push the information. And so it's like, okay, all right. In parallel to financial accounting standards, we need reliable ESG reporting standards. How do you not have that yet before you roll the whole thing out?
Yeah.
Unless it's so nefarious that some people, they give it to the lowers of like, all right, distribute this information. And they're like, no one's going to buy this right now. Some crazy transhuman thing or something.
And this is the breakdown. This is where we've always said it's going to break down, which is, okay, you can put out all your PR, your mumbo jumbo. You can say all the nice things, but what exactly does it mean? Like, what is the practicality? And there is none.
And well, the World Economic Forum is pushing the responsibility over to governments because it says here, for their part, governments could specify common standards on how companies and banks should measure, report, and set targets for their carbon emissions in line with best practice guidance of the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures. If you and I, Basil, just open a bunch of departments and just,
will sound really legit.
Will sound super legit.
The jingle department.
The
producer department.
The producer house, producer umbrella.
We need something like fancier and more businessy sounding.
I know. Ours is too sweet and kind.
Yeah.
Increased transparency. I'd like to know what the World Economic Forum has to say about that. To secure all the benefits that ESG policies bring to the economy, environment, and society, we need greater transparency and enhanced disclosures. Efforts on disclosure, transparency, and partnership would allow the financial sector to provide better clarity to clients, shareholders, ratings agencies, and regulators. It would allow
clarity to clients. That's where it all comes from. Is you have clients being like, okay, you're telling me this is a good idea, but I don't understand it, and I'm giving you my money, and I don't know what you're doing with it. I'm very uncomfortable with this.
Yeah, standard life. It would allow investors to meet their goals of achieving robust returns while delivering positive outcomes related to ESG. This would assist banks in designing sustainable solutions that meet client preferences, and businesses would have more clarity as they transition toward less carbon-intensive operations. And then later it says here, governments, under the same transparency part here, governments should remain realistic and consider the availability and quality of data while working with industry and the financial sector to avoid multiple systems that are likely to cause confusion in implementation and usage. So they're basically saying, like, we need to have one official thing that we shall deem the one, Right. If we don't, it's just going to... don't decentralize is the message.
Well, exactly. And that's the World Economic Forum. That's the Great Reset. That's what the whole thing's about, is centralizing power.
Yep.
And that's just what they're into.
So
all right. And that's straight from the World Economic Forum website. So that's not disinformation there, YouTube.
I know. Let me run a couple just real quick here. Looking ahead to COP26, we welcome further coordination and consolidation in this field. They're not shy about telling us what they're doing, and would be supportive of globally aligned disclosure standards being established. They're kind of like, hey, someone do this for us. Consolidate. As we continue to encourage such a development, we must align ourselves with the emerging frameworks while playing our part in preventing any further fragmentation. Dude, we're going to live in this crazy decentralized dystopian.
They don't want it fragmented. They want it. They want it very controlled and centralized.
So they also joined Science-Based Targets Initiative. Okay, along with around 100 banks and the Net Zero Banking Alliance, a group of around 60 banks that are working closely together in the run-up to COP26. Both of these groups are working toward a common set of standards on how to measure, report, and set targets for carbon reduction. You know why Janet Yellen is up there talking about we're going to tax tax unrealized gains on your assets and all this stuff, which is crazy. Basically meaning if you hold something, then you get taxed on it even though you haven't sold it yet, which doesn't make any sense unless they force you to sell it. I don't know. Very totalitarian economic policy if it does happen.
Yeah.
But I say that.
But it is brutal.
Yeah. And I say that I bring that up because in the context of all these banks are in line and they know that there's a certain type of transparent system that's emerging. And that's what all this decentralized crypto stuff is. And there are new things popping up in that realm that started in that realm, in that like more transparent world or whatever. So for all these guys to try to transition, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. All the centralization and ESG.
Oh, they'll make it work.
I know they're going to make it work to a degree.
I have no doubt that they're going to force it through to make it work. But I think it comes down to your definition of work.
Yes.
You know, it's not going to be something that an average person can come in and look at and be like, oh, yeah, this is great. Is going to, when corporations and governments get their hands on it, is going to be finagled, it's going to be wiggled, it's going to be figured out so that it has the appearance of success. But I don't think it's actually going to change anything, which again, we're not expecting it to. It's just sort of this weird new framework that they're putting around what they're already wanting to create, which is more centralized government, global economies. And they're having to put it in this sort of social justice-y context because as we're seeing now with the supply chains and the pandemic issues, the global economy is not as robust when it is centralized like that. This considering business, global economy, international trade, countries relying on other countries for goods that are halfway across the world is a beautiful idea in the minds of the World Economic Forum, but we're seeing boots on the ground, everyday people realizing, this is actually not working very well at all.
In fact, we're very confused. What do you want us to do?
We're very confused, and I can't buy a refrigerator. It's been one of the tough ones. People are having a hard time finding refrigerators.
Oh, our washer and dryer broke down.
Oh, good luck, brother. Learn how to fix washer and dryers.
Well, we had a dude come in to fix it, and it's gotten worse. I think he messed up things worse. I think I paid this dude to just
come break it more.
Yeah.
All right.
Life. Okay.
We're all good on that. I think we.
I think a lot of these stories we're going to get into are all tied in together, but we're going to talk briefly about the cyber pandemic here.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
Now, this is coming from the federalregister.gov. It's head up by the National Archives. It's the daily journal of the United States government. And what we have here is something called a PR, a proposed rule. And it goes like this. Request for comments. So this is like a commenting period that just started for this proposed rule. Request for comments concerning the imposition of export controls on certain brain-computer interfaces, BCI, emerging technology. Oh, interesting. The government is starting to look at brain-computer interface products, and they're so, they are at the point where they're like, oh, well, we need to start imposing export controls, mainly taxes and tariffs and things like that.
We want our cut, basically.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The government wants their cut. So sure are they that this brain-computer interface export is going to be a big enough industry that they are putting it. They've started the 45-day period of comment before they start putting in these rules. So what we have here is the sort of online document of this proposed rule, and let's just go through it a little bit. The agency bringing this forward is the Bureau of Industry and Security, Commerce.
It's the acronym for that is BIS, which confused me. It kept triggering me when I was reading through this, because when I see BIS, I always think Bank of International Settlements. So I'm like, oh, those guys, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's the Bureau of Industry and Security.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, just
that did not occur to me.
Yeah, when you mentioned the BIS,
when I read BIS,
people might,
The action is advance notice of proposed rulemaking. And here's the summary. The Bureau of Industry and Security, BIS, maintains control on the export, re-export, and transfer in country of dual-use items and less sensitive military items pursuant to the Export Administration Regulations, including the Commerce Control List, CCL. Certain items that could be of potential concern for export control purposes are not yet listed on the CCL or controlled multilaterally because they are emerging technologies. Among these items is brain-computer interface technology, BCI, which includes inter alia neural controlled interfaces, mind-machine interfaces, direct neural interfaces, and brain-machine interfaces. BIS is seeking public comments on the potential uses of this technology, particularly with respect to its impact on U.S. national security, e.g., whether such technology could provide the United States or any of its adversaries with qualitative military or intelligence advantage. This document also requests public comments on how to ensure that the scope of any controls that may be imposed on this technology would be effective in terms of protecting U.S. national security interests and appropriate with respect to minimizing their potential impact on legitimate commercial or scientific applications. And it has the dates and the addresses and how the public can actually comment on these sorts of things. Is this something that we should start a campaign for, Gonz?
I don't know.
Should we get the Canarians to start writing in on comments on these brain-machine interfaces?
You want to make an impression or get the Eye of Sauron squarely on you.
Well, you know what's interesting? When it comes to things like this, it's so obscure that very few members of the public, especially outside the industry, there's lobbyists and industry people who are, working this system to get their comments in there and trying to keep, the profit motives for different companies like Neuralink and things like that at the forefront of the conversation. But that is still very few. If any individual from the public actually comments on this, you'll be one of an extremely small number of people actually going through this process.
Yeah,
not that they're going to listen to you because you don't work for Neuralink or DARPA or something, but
the thing that jumped out at me, I had highlighted, was the little parenthetical, or whether such technology could provide the U.S. or any of its adversaries with qualitative military or intelligence advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Qualitative. interesting word in terms of
can
brain.
it kill better than a gun?
Well, yeah, I mean, in the context
bring
of
better intelligence than a satellite.
Yeah, in the context of a brain machine or brain computer interface, you know, that's what, a man hooked up to one of these machines to a drone that's killing, or cameras.
Is it better? Is it a qualitative improvement on the current?
Well, I mean, it would
risks?
be in general, wouldn't it? A brain machine interface that's working.
Remains to be. I mean, yeah, but is a guy controlling it with its brain? Does that actually result in more
they're just building
better mission outcomes, or is it just like a different way to control a drone that's not necessarily better?
Yeah, I hear you, but I think that's trying.
The question they're asking. I'm
sure they're just trying to make Professor X there, just access the cerebro, and
to be clear, this is not for us. Yeah, they are not concerned with what the public wants. This is just sort of a formality that gives the opportunity for lobbyists to get their fingers in the pie.
I had a couple comments highlighted. If you want me to run through them real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
One respondent urged that U.S. export controls on BCI technology be addressed through the establishment of harmonized multilateral controls. Otherwise, the imposition of export controls on such technology by the United States could adversely impact future collaboration with our allies. Example, foreign companies might become reluctant to utilize U.S. origin BCI products or technology if they were subject to unilateral export controls. This respondent also recommended that the United States view its national security interests more narrowly, observing that the United States likely would lose credibility in multilateral export control forums if it tried to tie its national security and economic security interests too closely together. This respondent...
You lost me. What exactly is... Yeah, what is... You want to review?
Okay. So basically... I think this individual, to me anyway, sounds like somebody that's part of the system there. Part of the whole apparatus, just coming on to comment for the pro side of things here. Another respondent also warned about the potential harm to U.S. technological leadership and competitiveness if the U.S. were to impose broad unilateral controls on emerging technology, including BCI tech, instead of working with our allies to develop and implement multilateral controls. So they keep bringing up multilateral controls. So I think all these people are like, yes, we want some form of like official
bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy, yes, there you go. Yeah. Thank you. One respondent observed that the digital information field of BCI tech is quite mature and that consequently digital information technologies should remain unencumbered for the free exchange and cross-pollination of advancements across borders. So now you have your borderless, don't touch it, let it evolve naturally, which is kind of your more one world order, new world order system.
It's actually more of the sort of capitalist libertarian thing. Like, no, don't regulate us. We'll just see what happens. No regulation, please.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I guess my point with the new world order is that you need both. You can't just have one. You have to be able to control both aspects in the the right left paradigm. All right. I think I don't know. There's a couple more things I highlighted. I don't think it's that important.
It speaks for itself. Yep. Nobody else is. There you go.
Well, one more thing.
Listeners are more aware of the government's attempts to control brain-computer interface exportation than anybody else.
Yes. One of the questions in here is what type of ethical or policy issues are likely to arise from the use of BCI technology, e.g. for medical or military purposes. If that's to the public, it's like there's so much. What do you mean? I mean, did they not know? Why do they need us to tell them? There's a lot of material on that.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I mean, this is a formality that needs to be done, and it gives an opportunity for lobbyists to introduce themselves to the lawmakers that they're going to be working with for forever.
Well, this is also, we'll have to see how this impacts
And it's also a filtering mechanism. They put that out there because if somebody is able to respond to that, you know that they know what they're talking about.
Right.
And there's somebody to actually listen to. That's really what this is. It's almost like a talent mining operation as well. I've known some people who have participated in things like this on a more local level, never on the sort of like federal level like this. But basically, it's just your opportunity to introduce yourself and for them to filter out, who knows what they're talking about, who doesn't, who are we going to be working with in the future in this industry. Okay, let's move on to let's do some COVID-19 stuff.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, 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 yes. COVID-19, COVID-19, coronavirus. Vaccine, number one way.
Okay, just a little update here. This is coming from ops.group. I'm not sure exactly what is this OPS group.
I don't know. I saw the thing. I had the link to the actual release, I think, from the White House, and then it got mixed up, and I have this random article.
Well, here's where I hit what is the OPS group all about? This is the thing. Hello, I'm in the cockpit. Whoa, what is whoa, they're telling a whole story. It's like an airline type of group. Looks like some pilots. Yeah, it's some sort of pilot group.
Yeah.
Humans of Aviation. Yeah, okay. People, not professionals. Yeah, okay. So it's sort of a pilot, group of pilots or flying humans. But there's this report here, or this blog post perhaps, U.S. to mandate vaccines for all foreign arrivals. The U.S. government has revealed big changes to entry requirements from November 8th. All non-citizens residents will need to be fully vaccinated to enter the U.S. from anywhere. For Americans, the rules around pre-travel testing will be tightened too. Here's a quick rundown of how this will all work. For foreigners, starting November 8th, any foreigner who wants to board a flight to the U.S. will need to prove that they have been fully vaccinated. This means that they will need to have received a full dose of either an FDA or WHO-approved vaccine at least a full 14 days prior. Interesting that they're actually working off of the vaccinated definition.
Yeah. Finally.
Which is very rare. Yeah, you don't see that a lot with these rules.
Most of the time, it's at least one dose. Or at least it has been. I don't know. It keeps changing, but yeah, we've seen a lot of that, at least coming from Biden.
Let's see here. Spoiler alert, there are hardly any. A very small list of unvaccinated foreigners will be allowed to enter. This includes people participating in vaccine trials, those with medical conditions, or anyone traveling on non-tourist visas from countries where vaccines aren't readily available. Exemptions may also be granted for humanitarian or emergency reasons with approval from the U.S. government in the form of a letter. As I go through this, I would like to at least put eyes on the official
I'll
release of this. I think I don't want to rely just on this thing. 7 days of self-quarantine and additional testing may be required. Anyone under 18 will be exempt from the vaccine mandate. Instead, they will need a pre-departure test. If their guardians are fully vaccinated, this can be done within 3 days of departure. If they're traveling with an unvaccinated adult or alone, this is reduced to just 1 day. For citizens and residents, for U.S. citizens and residents, the vaccine mandate will not apply, but the rules around pre-travel testing are being tightened. From the same date, any U.S. citizen or resident who isn't fully vaccinated will need a negative test. Have a negative test, negative viral test, PCR or antigen, within just 1 day of departure. Those who have had the vaccine will still need. Those who have had the vaccine will still need to get a pre-travel test too, but they will have the existing 3 days to do so. This is not what is the science behind this? Everybody needs a test, but if you're unvaccinated, you need it the day before. If you're vaccinated, you get 3 days to do it. What is the actual health science behind that? I'm not sure. I would love to know. What about crew? Both foreign and local crew entering the U.S. will be exempt from these new rules. Instead, they will need to continue following existing CDC guidelines, which you can read here. Contact tracing. There will also be new requirement for air operators to collect contact information from all passengers and provide it to CDC QuickSmart, just in case they need to get in touch with anyone. Just in case they need to get in touch with anyone. More details on this are set to follow. Interesting. So CDC will just have a running list of all airplane passengers. There's some tracking for you.
Yeah.
Travel ban. November 8th is a big day for U.S. borders for another reason, too. For the first time since the start of the pandemic, the entry ban on passengers from the U.K., Ireland, much of Western Europe, China, Iran, Brazil, South Africa, and India is finally being lifted. You can read more about that announcement in a recent article here. And they give some handy links. The official presidential announcement of the vaccine mandate, the official CDC guidance on the new rules. Okay, so they link... Yes. When did this? Yeah. The new rules. Here we go. Yeah, they link straight to a whitehouse.gov.
Yep.
A proclamation on advancing the safe resumption of global travel during the COVID-19 pandemic came out October 25th, 2021.
Yep.
Presidential actions.
Funny,
Cool.
I finally found it as we found it on the actual website.
As
so
it was
thank
just
you.
on the link.
Thank you, blogger, for doing that.
Yeah. Cool. You know what's funny? Had not heard a word about this on any mainstream things. Maybe it just skipped my evaded my gaze or something. But very interesting how I had not heard about this. And
this is the U.S. now, I guess, putting harder lines on people coming in from other countries, which. I don't know. We've seen other countries do it. It's a little bit of both. They're lifting the travel ban, but enforcing a vaccine mandate on anybody coming in, right? Which is interesting. Yeah. So there you go. Just quietly, enforcing this vaccine tyranny. For travel. Good job, I know. You know what it is? It's just going to become so inconvenient to travel. That's what they want. They want everybody to just sit and become online people. You got to get into the metaverse, man. Yeah, you want to go on vacation? Jack into the metaverse. Yeah. All right. So along those lines here, this is from 5280.com. It's Denver's Mile High magazine. And the headline here, if you've had weird thoughts about zombies and vaccines, you're not alone. And I wanted to bring this to you because I felt like it was an interesting example of somebody who's probably not super familiar with all the stuff we talk about or the angle we cover topics, discovering a sort of predictive programming and analyzing it from sort of a more mainstream view. So keeping that in mind here. I won't read the whole thing. I'll read part of it. Just after receiving her second dose of the Pfizer vaccine, my mom made a strange joke. I don't know, she told me over the phone. I just feel like now that I've had the vaccine, I'll come back as a zombie when I die. It's a scene straight out of The Walking Dead, an AMC show I watched with my family. At the end of season 1, the characters learn that they've all been infected by whatever is causing the dead to rise. Supposedly it was space spores. Long story short, even if a person dies of natural causes, they'll reanimate and become a zombie. I verified that my mom, a strong believer in science, was kidding mostly, and her comment became nothing more than a silly anecdote. That is, until I read a story in the Denver Post in which a man who felt uncomfortable receiving the COVID-19 vaccine mentioned the apocalyptic film I Am Legend. The 2007 movie starring Will Smith also appeared in the New York Times and Washington Post articles, each featuring someone blaming their vaccine hesitancy on the film. Here's the elevator pitch for I Am Legend. Do I need to go through the elevator pitch? Most people
Might as
know,
well.
right?
I'm sure there's some people who haven't seen it.
A botched cancer cure turns most of the world's population into vampire zombie hybrids. Outlandish as it may sound, posts about the premise began circulating on social media to question whether we really felt safe taking a rapidly developed COVID-19 quote-unquote cure. The posts were pervasive enough that Reuters ran a fact check, pointing out that it was a genetically altered virus, not a vaccine, that caused the outbreak in I Am Legend. Akiva Goldsman, the screenwriter for the movie...
That's not true.
It's not true that it was which part?
Well, it's been a little while since I've watched it, so I'm not going to fight him on that. But I don't think that's what it was. But okay.
So it was a genetically altered virus, not a vaccine, that caused the outbreak in I Am Legend. Okay. All right. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Akiva Goldsman, the screenwriter, hold on. The screenwriter for the movie bypassed picking apart such technicalities in a Twitter post. Okay. But for some, the film felt real. A piece of pop culture gained new life, infecting the minds of the unvaccinated and vaccinated, sorry mom, alike. So what caused this idea to rise from the grave? Quote, there's a lot of good examples throughout horror and zombie horror, says Brian Hall, an academic dean of Regis University School for Professional Advancements and a professor of philosophy. Quote, that allow you to talk about social, political, and ethical issues in a way that people are going to be more open to. Hall harnessed the idea when writing an ethical guidebook to the zombie apocalypse, How to Keep Your Brain Without Losing Your Heart, a book of short stories that introduces theories on moral philosophy. The surge of slasher films in the 1980s, for instance, coincided with Ronald Reagan's presidency, signaling a turn toward conservatism. This bloody genre's offerings, such as Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, often depict a killer dispatching sexually explorative teens. Sarah Juliet Loriot, an English professor at the University of Tampa and author of The Transatlantic Zombie Slavery Rebellion and Living Death, offers another example, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, in which alien pods imitate and replace actual humans to develop a population of emotionless conformers. It hit the big screens in 1956 after Joseph McCarthy spent years writing, warning that communists were infiltrating the U.S. One more paragraph. Watching these movies is no more exercise in masochism. Quote, in this imaginary world, the fear is so exaggerated, so ridiculous, that you can talk about it, Lauro says. Zombies are used to signify that something isn't normal. Quote, what's the most unnatural thing you can possibly imagine, Lauro asks. Someone coming back from the dead. Which is so interesting because the whole Jesus thing is about that, you know? That is like the central point of the theology of Christ coming back from the dead. So
it certainly was unnatural. Some might even call it supernatural.
Exactly. Which
I've been
makes no
seeing
sense.
a lot of this zombie talk recently, actually.
Well, I mean, it was all predicted. The CDC they pushed out their first zombie tongue-in-cheek campaign in like 2011, I think, was the very first ad or post, I guess, or whatever it was on the CDC website, where it was like, prepare for the zombie apocalypse, the tools or whatever.
Right.
And it was brought up over and over again. And it's kind of a psyop thing when it's like it gets brought up every few years and everyone talks about it. People discover it and then you don't hear about it. And then a few months later, you hear it again. It's just being used over and over again. But anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's popping up. Speaking of which, we have an email, a jingle came in for next break that is about zombies as well. So you should go grab that.
All right.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything to add about that.
Well, the part that's interesting also is again, tapping into the predictive programming without realizing it. It's kind of interesting to read that perspective. It feels very foreign to me. It's maybe this person just hasn't been exposed to that information.
You're right. It is interesting. They're just sort of presenting the concept of predictive programming just from a different perspective.
Without calling it, without realizing even maybe that's what's happening. It's just kind of...
Right. Yeah.
Almost the boots on the ground in a certain way. They're in it.
Yeah, that is incredible. It's like someone who's been predictive programmed.
Yes.
Who is following the
programming.
the assertion that it's just a movie.
Yeah.
It's just a movie.
Suspending
Don't worry
disbelief.
about it. It's just a movie. Yeah, right. The suspension of disbelief. And while we're suspending disbelief, Gonz, I cannot believe it, but it's time for a break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Okay, folks, we're just going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we got the politics section. We got a nice friendly message from our favorite defense contractor, Raytheon. Also, a little update on the Kyle Rittenhouse case, if you remember that. We've also going to be checking in with Space Pope reptilians, all sorts of good stuff.
Which, by the way, the Space Pope reptilians / Order of Malta thing just falls right in line with everything we were talking about in the first half of the show, just more of the underbelly. So it all connects.
It's going to be a good show, folks. So don't go anywhere. We're just going to take a quick break to thank some of our producers. That's right. I said producers. You may have noticed, dear listener, no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no mail enhancement supplements for sale, no freedom phones. No monetization whatsoever. In fact,
Proudly.
we take no corporate money. No money from YouTube, no Twitch, no nothing. Because keeping the show free of corporate money means keeping it free of corporate interests, which means that we can truly maintain our status as truly independent media. That's right, folks. We can only keep the show going through the generosity and the responsibility of our producers. Who's a producer? Well, could be you, dear listener. Our producers are people who realize that the value for value model not only is the only way to currently keep this show free from the tentacles of the advertising industry and corporate interests, but also in the future. The value for value model is the future of, I would say, news in general, but certainly trustworthy, independent analysis and deconstruction. And that's what we do here. The value for value model is simple. We create value. We do it 3 times a week, and we try our very darndest at it. And if you get any value out of the show, whether it's entertainment or education or stories you hadn't heard, or maybe analysis, deconstructions, perspectives that you don't get anywhere else, whatever the value may be, you have the opportunity and the responsibility to put some value back into the show. And that value can take many forms, but one of those forms is by producing the show financially. Indeed, we're so thankful that our producers have made it so we can make this podcast a full-time gig, doing 3 episodes a week, which we are proud to say is more content than almost any podcast out there. I mean, the only other person that does 3 episodes a week is Joe Rogan, and our episodes are significantly longer than his. So if you enjoy
not always, but yeah.
Not always, but almost always. I mean, he does not often do 4-hour shows, and we do 4-hour shows pretty much every week. So anywho, we're putting some weeks we're approaching 15 hours of content. And if you enjoy what we're doing here, please consider becoming a producer. And it feels good. You know, it feels good to take control of your media future. No longer are you just leaving it up to the advertising companies to decide which program is worth keeping going, which ones align with the interests of their corporations. It's called being brand friendly. And if a show is not brand friendly, they do not get the support of our dear and beloved advertising companies. And so, you have a choice. Do you want to let the advertising companies decide which shows continue, or do you want to take control with the rest of the producers to keeping the shows that you value and that you enjoy alive? And anybody can do it. You can do it a few different ways. You can head on over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. That's patreon.com/CCNT. And Gonz, are you ready to thank our producers over there?
Yes.
Okay.
Very ready.
We we have one Patreon producer who is an upgrading producer, and that is Producer Joe.
Thank you, Producer Joe. We got a note from him. We're not going to read it, but yeah, there you are, Joe. I think we might have missed Joe the first time.
I think we missed him another time, so we apologize for that. But we thank you very much for upgrading your support. It really helps to keep the show going.
Yep,
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Now, we also have another Patreon account, and that is patreon.com/CanaryCry.Radio. Canary Cry Radio is a different show. You are currently listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Canary Cry Radio is an interview-style show we've been doing since 2012, and it's a great place to hear lots of interviews and well-produced episodes that kind of gives you an idea of where the worldview we are coming from looks like, but we have no new producers over there. So that only leaves one last thing, Gonz, and that is CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
That's right. CanaryCryRadio.com/support is a wonderful place to become a producer of the show. There's all sorts of options. If you're a cool crypto person, you can support the show with your cryptocurrency. You can come in on PayPal, become a monthly producer of the show if you want to commit to keeping the show going. And we are so grateful for our monthly producers for helping lay down a firm foundation for the show when perhaps one-time producership is low. But if commitment is not your thing, you can come in and produce the show in a one-time amount, in any amount that you like. It's a fun time. If people have fun with it, you can put in whatever. There are some suggestions there, things like a pocket full of 777, pocket full of 3s. If you want to come in with the Trump tax producership, you can come in with 750 or 75. There's people know what they're doing over there. It's a good time. Gonz, who is coming in over there at CanaryCryRadio.com/support?
We're going to start things off with Sir Igor, Knight of the Squatting Slavs.
Oh, Sir Igor is back. Thank you very much. That's Igor. Yes, Sir Igor, Knight of the Squatting Slavs, is our executive producer for today.
Where'd you find this?
I wish I can pull up his photo, while we talk about him for a moment.
Slav
yeah, the
photo?
squatting Slav
I don't know
photo.
if that was him, but it certainly is his
enough.
avatar in the Canary Cry metaverse.
I want the experience, the executive jingle there while looking at a picture of that. That would have been perfect. Sure.
Well, I think it was perfect just the way it is, Gonz. You did a great job. And Sir Igor comes in with $333.33.
Ooh.
He is a mega Illuminati handler for the day. Thank you very much. Sir Igor comes in with a note that says, "Thank God and thank you, producers, for keeping us in your prayers. I'm very pleased to report that my wonderful wife and I purchased our first home." Oh my gosh. Congratulations, Sir Igor.
Congrats.
Favor of the Lord has been with us through the whole process. May you also be blessed. Wow. Congratulations. Oh my gosh. I don't know the age of Sir Igor. He's certainly a vivacious individual, but very happy to hear that. That is not an easy task nowadays.
Yeah, especially in light of all the stuff going on. It's when you hear something like that, I'm in the game. I'm losing though. I'm pretty far behind in that game.
Well,
so great job, Sir Igor.
You've got it on hard mode.
You're
a professional podcaster,
my,
and you live in Southern California.
Yeah, that is hard.
An easy recipe for buying a home.
I need the cheat code for whatever it is that's happening out here because it's I don't make it easy on myself. But yeah, congratulations, Sir Igor. It's really great. And if the Lord blesses me, I would want it to be as seamless and led by the Lord, it seemed as it was for you. So
yeah, amen. We're happy to hear that. And yeah, congratulations. You can start, your fortress has begun. All right.
Okay.
Who's next,
Next up, we have producer Aaron J.
Producer Aaron J, first of all, is on a streak.
Super streak.
been supporting the show for 28 episodes in a row, and Aaron J is one of our associate executive producers for the day. Thank you very much, Aaron J.
Thank you, Aaron J.
Do we still not have a jingle for associate executive producers?
If we did, it didn't.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
If somebody made one, resend it, and if not, we need to call upon the jingle producers. We need a cool associate executive producer jingle, please. Thank you very much. Aaron J comes in with $110, which says, let's see, he has a note here. This is taking ages. How long now until I'm a lizard man? He's referring to his 33 streak, which you're only 5 episodes away from. And 110 means that Aaron J has reached level 110 on Fortnite. He continues to astound us as one of our esports athletes.
How far did you get? You played it, right?
I know I didn't play for very long. Okay. No, I only played it for like a day, and I don't know. It was a long time ago. When I played it, it was like 4 years ago, maybe, when I gave it a try last. Anywho,
and it resets every once in a while, right, or something?
Season, yes.
Season?
They do it in seasons. So I don't know how long they last. Other games, a season will last 3 months or 4 months. And yes, then it resets everybody's level.
So Aaron, I'm wondering where Aaron J sits on the overall,
I don't know. I'm sure
rankings.
If he would let us know if he's if he is nationally or globally ranked, and that's something he wants to brag about, this would be a good place for him to do that. Okay, he also came in with 782, which is a pocket full of sevens plus fees or something. And he sent a note that says, the bad tattooed rappers you mentioned last show made British singers come to mind. Jedward, who got famous just for being bad singers. They also had cameos in a few Sharknado films.
Hey.
So made me think of those two. That's funny. If you're getting cameos in Sharknado films, you are famous for one specific reason, and that is for being horrible at something.
Oh, just enjoy the ride, people.
Thank you very much, Aaron J.
Thank you, Aaron J.
There you go.
All right. Next up, we have Jackie U.
Jackie U is also one of our associate executive producers for the day.
Jingle makers.
There's no jingle for that. So imagine, if you will, dear listener, that a cool jingle was right there. Jackie U, let's see, comes in with 103.30 and a note. Hello, I don't have a place of worship, so here's a gift. I'm a monthly producer, but you're invaluable. The tribute to Skiba and Dizdar was funny and very touching. Thank you very much. Been listening to both for about 10 years. May Yah bless you guys. Virtual hugs, Jackie. Thank you very much, Jackie. I appreciate that.
Definitely appreciate it. And I'm going to decode. She's an Illuminati shill for this episode. She coded it in the 3.3, but I see it.
Illuminatus! We're on to you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. All right, next up we have Benjamin S.
Benjamin S. comes in with an unreadable amount and says, much love, keep it up. Thank you very much, Benjamin S.
Thank you, Benjamin S. Next up we have Morv.
Morv is on a streak. 15 episodes in a row, which I believe makes Morv a rocket man.
Oh, that's right.
Rocket man. Burning out his fuse out here alone.
That's right. Morph comes in with 1111. Thank you very much, Morph.
That jingle just is different now.
It's entirely different now.
It's different.
Yes. When our producer sent in that clip, we're like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful secret treasure that the world has held for us for so long. And then he goes to space and everybody's playing it.
Yep. We're on it. Our producers.
Well, just another example of Canary Cry News Talk being ahead of the game.
Yes. All right. Next up, thank you, Morv. Next up, we have Heatherus.
Heatherus, thank you very much. Is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
18 episodes in a row. What is the 18 streak?
Is it Supernova?
It must be Supernova.
This is Charlie November Tango. You are approaching Supernova. Repeat, you are approaching Supernova.
Thank you very much, Heather Russ. Comes in with $10.01, 1001. Oh, that's a fun. You got 1001 hanging around?
Hmm.
The Bender?
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Bender.
Yeah. I think we discovered a new jingleable donation amount.
Well, I'll have to look for it. I have a little stash somewhere of Bender.
I got a note here, so I'll read the note. You look for that. Hey, Bands and Gozel, in light of the recent storm we had here, we thought this scripture would be fitting. Zechariah 10:1. Okay. Ask rain from the Lord in the season of the spring rain, from the Lord who makes storm clouds, and he will give them showers of rain. To everyone, the vegetation in the field. Thanks for all you do. Much love. Heather Russ, that's Heather and Russ. Thank you very much.
1001. Amen.
Wow.
There it is.
They inadvertently discovered a new jingleable producership amount. 1001.
That is crazy how that worked.
I know.
That's amazing.
Right. Speaking of which, we've got a very exciting next producer.
Who
is it, Gonz?
It's Juan A.
Juan A is coming in, folks, and yes, he's been working so hard. He's on a streak. And he officially has made it to 30, supporting the show, 33 episodes in a row, which makes Juan A our newest illuminated master lizard shill.
Illuminated lizard master shill. Officially solidifying illuminated lizard master shill.
The most exciting streak. The most exciting streak.
And not to be outdone by this.
Illuminated lizard master shill. Chill. Illuminated lizard master shill. Chill. Lizard.
Oh, so good.
Lizard. Thank you, Juan A. You did it. Thank you very much. Comes in with 1010. And a note, have a great day. Praise the Lord. It's been 33 eps. God willing, more to come. Stay faithful, homies. I'm the chillest lizard master ever to have ever masterfully chilled. Ooh, I like that. Illuminated lizard master chill. That's fun. Thank you very much, Juan A.
It reminds me of when I was a kid. For some reason, I thought chill like a chili dog was really funny. Mm-hmm. So I repeated it, and I think I annoyed a lot of people. So I'm sorry, those people.
Like using it in the context of chilling, like you chill.
Yes.
And you just thought of chili the whole time.
Chili dog, yeah.
What a beautiful mind you have.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Gail M.
Gail M, also an exciting streak.
Yes.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Gail M made it to 42 episodes in a row, which means Gail M is the answer.
Carry this message to Hiram a bit.
Thank you very much, Gail M. And a note here. Hola, chicos dolce. Please, as producers... please ask producers to pray for us. Okay, assemble, producers.
Producers, assemble!
My brother is showing signs of liver failure that causes brain swelling from ammonia buildup. He's confused and belligerent at times. This will get him hospitalized, and I fear that he'll never come home. This is happening too fast. 6 weeks ago, he was working full-time at 74 years old. I love you all, and thank you for your prayer. XXXXXXXX. Well, thank you very much, Gail M, for supporting the show, and my goodness, so sorry to hear about your brother. And producers out there, put Gail M's brother on the list. That is really tough when things start shutting down like that.
Yeah,
it's rough to see the sort of dominoes that can happen, but the Lord is capable of pulling him out of it. Make sure he gets the care that he needs, and we'll be praying for you, Gail.
Yep, absolutely. All right.
Who's next?
Next up, we have JC.
JC is on a streak. 29 episodes in a row, comes in for $831. That's a pocket full of sevens plus fees. And a note, it is Wednesday, my dudes. Hope you both are doing well and settling back into the chaos of podcasting for 12 hours a week and researching for 70 hours a week. I don't know how you do it, but I'm sure am appreciative of y'all's dedication. Well, thank you very much, JC.
Thank you, JC.
And as a continuing streaker, we are appreciative of your dedication to keeping the show going.
100%. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Child of God.
Child of God is on a streak. 10 episodes in a row, pocket full of sevens plus fees, and no note. Thank you, Child of God.
Thank you, Child of God. Next up, we have Scott K.
Scott K's on a streak. And Scott K, the tension is building. He's been supporting the show for 65 episodes in a row. Comes in with a pocket full of sevens. Thank you very much, Scott K.
Thank you, Scott K. Next up, we have Sir Salmons.
That's Sir Salmons, the Knight of the Fishes, is on a streak. 19 episodes in a row, pocket full of sevens, and a note. It's Wednesday, my dudes. Got a mean head cold at the moment. Must be the notorious Delta variant, or maybe early onset Omicron. Oh, we've got patient zero for the Omicron variant. Hope you both are well. Many blessings from the fishes. Thank you very much, Sir Salmons.
Thank you, Sir Salmons.
Hey, that concludes our note reading producers, and but we got more.
Yep.
Let's continue.
Yep, we got Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight coming in with a pocket full of threes and is on a big old streak. Woo! Sir Casey, 75 episodes in a row.
Wow.
Which, you know what that means? Jingle producers, we need a 77 jingle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Up.
That'll be by Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We need it by Monday's show. So thank you very much.
There you go.
Whoever wants to do it. You know what? I've been resisting calling out jingle producers by name because, it is a voluntary position, but you know who you are. There's a couple of you. It's not just one. So whoever gets
it's
on
more than a couple.
And if there's more,
there are definitely more than a couple.
We'll play them all. Okay. Who's next?
All right. Next up, Ciara.
Oh, Learbag says he did send one. Yes, it's the perfection. Oh, well, I'm having a brain fart. We'll have to go look at that, Learbag. All right, Ciara is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
38 episodes in a row. Thank you very much, Ciara, and we'll have a little message from her during the Meetup section.
Next up, we have Dr. Who Done Dat.
Dr. Who Done Dat is on streak. 13 episodes in a row and a pocket full of threes plus fees. Thank you very much, Dr. Who Done Dat.
Thank you, Dr. Who Done Dat. Next up, Veronica D.
Veronica D is on a streak.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Big day for Veronica as well. 42 episodes in a row, which means Veronica D is the answer.
Carry this message to Hiram a bit.
Thank you very much, Veronica.
Thank you, Veronica D. Next up, we have Brant W.
Brant W is on a streak. 27 episodes in a row, which means, he's a firmament buster.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will.
You gotta get some trap music behind that.
I know.
Thanks for that pocket full of threes plus fees, Brant.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Rung Smash.
Rung Smash is on a streak. Thank you very much, Runk Smash. 28 episodes in a row, comes in with 206, which we will read his microfiction later on in the show. Wow, the streakers carried us through. A lot of streakers. Thank you guys very much. This is... I don't know what we would do without you guys, but of course, we also thank all producers, including our executive producer, Sir Igor, Knight of the Squatting Slavs, and our associate executive producers, Aaron J. and Jackie U. And I think that's it for this break. Is there anything else we do in this break?
I think that's it. Let's kick it back to some POLYTICK stuff.
Whee! Let's wake up first.
Wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
It's Latin for many.
They'll suck your blood. They'll suck
Politics.
your blood.
This is Bloomberg.com, I guess. It's shared on MSN.com. The headline is U.S. lags China on hypersonic weapons by years.
They've been making a big deal about this, haven't they?
Yeah, Raytheon CEO says the U.S. government is years behind China in the pursuit of so-called hypersonic weapons that bob and weave through the atmosphere at more than 5 times the speed of sound. Raytheon Technologies Corps Chief Executive Officer said Tuesday. While the Pentagon has a number of hypersonic weapons programs in development and the U.S. understands the technology, China has, quote, actually fielded hypersonic weapons, Raytheon CEO Gregory Hayes said in an interview on Bloomberg Television's Balance of Power with David Weston. Quote, we are at least several years behind. The emerging ultra-fast weapon systems have sparked concern because of their potential to destabilize relations between the U.S., China, and Russia. They're not concerned about people dying. They're concerned about the political chess match.
Destabilizing relations, yeah.
They may also become a front in the mounting competition between Beijing and Washington as the world's 2 largest economies clash over trade, technology, and humanitarian issues. Raytheon is developing a hypersonic cruise missile with the U.S. military. Hypersonics capability is, quote, the most destabilizing threat to the homeland, Hayes says. The time to react is very, very short. This is interesting.
This is pretty sketchy to me. First of all, if we didn't have hypersonic capabilities, why would we be telling the world
we
this?
So have them. That's 100% probably sure.
Yeah, and of course, this is the CEO of Raytheon. This is not a government entity. So first of all, that seems like it would be something of national security importance to be able
to say it too. We're behind China.
CEO,
that's like a
CEO of a private company coming out and telling the adversaries of the U.S. that we are not prepared to respond to an attack. I don't think that would happen without some sort of strategy.
There is no way. There's no way. It's just quiet because it's Raytheon. I mean, it's not that quiet. This has kind of been, it's trending a little bit, but it's Raytheon. So
well, whether it's Raytheon or DARPA or whoever, but it's Raytheon. I think this is a funding ploy or something, or he's, taking marching orders.
Well, either way, he's saying something pretty. Again, you're right. It's kind of a national security threat to be saying that publicly. Like, we're behind. Yeah. So, which, number one, I don't think we are. I think China knows that America is not behind. There's just a CEO talking for some reason. But the CEO's comments come after reports that China conducted 2 hypersonic weapons tests over the summer, including one of a so-called hypersonic glide vehicle launched from a missile or rocket. The craft separates and zips toward a target while maneuvering through the atmosphere. And Hayes said such weapons can reach speeds of 22,000 miles per hour. Quote, we have to have automated systems to defend the homeland, and we are focused on that, he said in the interview. Raytheon's Missile and Defense Unit in September successfully test-fired a hypersonic cruise missile that can travel at speeds greater than Mach 5 as part of the development contracts for the U.S. Air Force and the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, and Defense Department's Advanced Technology Department Agency. Okay. That was a weird sentence.
Yeah.
It's just a weird way to say things. Quote, we will have weapons to challenge the adversaries, but most importantly, I think our focus is how do we develop counter hypersonics. Hayes, acid. This is Bloomberg, right?
Yeah.
Why is it why are the typos so bad?
Maybe it's a code.
The spell said wrong?
Maybe we need to go Dan Brown on this article and tease out the secret messages.
I don't know. I think he just misspelled said as acid.
Okay.
Raytheon shares were down. So there you go. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just an interesting story that's out there. And I've heard a lot about the hypersonic weapons, the whole China thing, and everyone freaking out. But it seems like a lot of posturing and I mean, I don't know. It always seems, everything seems propagandistic at this point. And maybe we're just so tired of all that.
Yeah,
It doesn't really hit us. But
I think we just nailed it. I mean, it's just weird. It's very fishy for him to be coming out and saying this. I don't think there's any extra analysis that needs to be put on it, except for keeping an eye on it. Maybe a contract that Raytheon has is coming to an end, or they need to convince certain members of Congress or in the government that it's time to invest more.
Maybe this is Raytheon's way of saying, like, hey, China will work with you. Like, that's where all the money is.
Could be anything. Could be any sort of advertisement.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's head on over to Washington Post. This is coming from, Washington Post. I have the archive version here because they ain't getting my money. The headline reads, "Men shot by Kyle Rittenhouse can be called rioters and looters, but not victims, judge rules." A Wisconsin judge ruled Monday that attorneys in the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial could refer to the men the teen shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year as rioters, looters, and arsonists. They could not, however, describe Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber, who were killed, and Gage Crosskreutz, who was wounded, as victims because the term was loaded, the judge said. I don't know if the Washington Post is just doing a wonderful job at presenting this or what the case is, but the fact that victims wouldn't be loaded and that rioters and looters and arsonists wouldn't be loaded is a pretty funny concept, and shows perhaps some bias that the judge is working on here, which can't avoid it sometimes. The ruling comes ahead of what's expected to be a contentious trial. Rittenhouse, then 17, shot the men in downtown Kenosha on August 25th, 2020 with an AR-15 style rifle after crossing state lines during the turmoil sparked by the shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man, by Rustin Shesky, a white police officer. Rittenhouse... this is interesting how just reporting on any event, we need to put the race of the people in there each time. Rittenhouse was with fellow armed men who had tasked themselves with patrolling Kenosha's streets amid the chaos. Circuit Judge Bruce Schroeder laid out final ground rules before the trial next week. Rittenhouse faces homicide charges in the deaths of Rosenbaum and Huber and an attempted homicide charge for shooting Grosskreutz. He also is charged with being a minor in possession of a firearm. Rittenhouse has pleaded not guilty to all charges, and his attorneys are expected to argue that he acted in self-defense. Schroeder said that while he advised Rittenhouse's team against using pejorative terms to describe the three men shot, such language could be used in their closing arguments if evidence shows the men participated in criminal acts. Wasn't at least one of the guys he shot armed? I think it was that Grosskreutz guy was aiming a pistol at him when he got shot.
Yeah, one of the guys. I don't remember if it was the guy or the guy that died, but yeah.
I think it was this Grosskreutz guy. He got shot in the arm. Schroeder said Mark Richards, one of Rittenhouse's attorneys, could demonize them if he wants, if he thinks it will win points with the jury. Hey, that's the law for you. According to the Chicago Tribune, the first to report the news. Quote, "If more than one of them were engaged in arson, rioting, and looting, I'm not going to tell the defense you can't call them that," the judge said. Oh, see, now we're getting to the actual quotes from the judge, which are a little different than how Washington Post opened up the article. Grosskreutz, the lone survivor of the shooting, has not been charged with a crime from that night. Schroeder's ground rules reiterated his earlier ruling, in which he stated that the men shot by Rittenhouse could not be called victims because the term was prejudicial towards the teen. But on Monday, the judge also allowed the defense to use terms such as rioters, looters, and arsonists to refer to those men. Yes, you've mentioned this. Quote, the word victim is loaded. Loaded word, Schroeder said. Alleged victim is a cousin to it. Although such rulings are not uncommon in the trials in which there is a dispute over self-defense, prosecutors suggested the judge was employing a double standard by allowing Rosenbaum, Huber, and Grosskreutz be called rioters, looters, and arsonists, but not victims. Was this... this article started out strong. Now I'm thinking it's written by an AI.
It just repeats the idea.
Repeats the same thing over and over in different, not even different words, just different sentence structure.
Yeah.
Assistant District Attorney Thomas Binger questioned how Rosenbaum and Huber in particular could be so disparaged, given that they would never have had the chance to defend themselves. One of the guys was full on sprinting towards Kyle.
Yeah.
He was a big dude, was like 6'6", big beefy guy sprinting right at Kyle when he got shot. So yeah, I think they're going to have a fine time figuring this out.
The video is pretty self-explanatory. It's just interesting how this is all being made
which is what I'm basing
deal.
what I'm saying on. I'm just saying I saw the video.
Yeah.
I think it was I could be wrong, but if I remember from the extensive reporting we did on the story at the time, Rosenbaum was the big, huge guy who was like charging, sprinting at Kyle, and then Grosskreutz was the guy who pulled a gun, and there's another guy who hit him was swinging a skateboard at him. So to say that they were doing anything,
no, he was walking through the park and just shot people.
It was
pretty much how it went down. Didn't you see on the video there?
Well, we'll let the judge decide. It turns, anywho, I don't know. It goes on and literally repeats itself over and over and over. So there you go. We hadn't heard much from this story. This was a big, huge story at the time, of course, during a lot of the riots and unrest last year. And we'll see how this turns out for this Kyle fella. I know he's had a lot of support from Second Amendment people, and I forget which law firm it was who was actually taking care of him. But yeah, so we'll keep an eye on it, see how that goes.
All right, well, we're going to transition from POLYTICK to Space Pope Reptilian, but we're going to start with a little bit of a Biden here.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
And I have a clip here from CNN. I'll play about a minute or so, and we'll just respond to it.
As we Catholics say, oh my God.
A president with a devout and humble relationship with his faith prepares tonight to meet what observers say is a kindred spirit at the Vatican on Friday. Joe Biden is only America's second Roman Catholic president. And when he meets with Pope Francis at the Vatican, he'll be the second Catholic president to meet with the head of the Catholic Church after John F. Kennedy did it 58 years ago.
For Biden in particular, getting the kind of warm embrace that he will certainly get on Friday from Pope Francis, that is tremendously important.
It's important, analysts say, not just because the two men share viewpoints on the issues of climate change, the pandemic, and fighting poverty. This connection, they say, is personal and deeply so.
In the life of Joe Biden, Catholicism has played a very important role to sustain him in the tragedies that he had to face. That has been particularly true for the death of his son, Bo.
In 2000...
I'm sorry. I just want to comment. This has nothing to do with anything going on in the clips.
Okay.
Other than the last person you heard talking is Professor Massimo, last name Fagioli.
Of his son, Bo.
In 2015, Pope Francis visited the U.S. just months after Joe Biden had lost his son Bo to cancer. During the visit, Biden escorted the Pope at several of his stops. Biden later recalled that as he was saying goodbye to the Pope in Philadelphia, Francis asked to meet with Biden's family and offered them comfort over the loss of Bo.
He provided us with more comfort than even he, I think, will ever understand.
But this visit also comes as Biden's broader relationship with the church experiences complications. Some influential church leaders displeased with the president.
There are some Catholics, including some bishops in the United States, who believe that by supporting abortion rights and thereby contradicting the clear moral teaching of the Catholic Church on abortion, President Biden has, in effect, put himself outside the fold. and as such should not be eligible to receive communion when he comes to Mass.
But John Allen says that's a position Pope Francis himself does not agree with. The bond between these two leaders, analysts say, extends to the paths they've taken to the top. Two men who were written off earlier when the top positions in their arenas were heavily contested.
They ascended to power, to the top position, very late in their lives, later than anyone would expect for them to arrive there. And so, in some sense, they are survivors.
And analysts say there's another reason Pope Francis will be happy to greet the president on Friday, and that's because the president is not Donald Trump. Trump and Pope...
Okay. All right. CNN landing the plane there.
That's great.
All right. So
that's hilarious.
Pope and Biden about to meet here, and that leads us right into the Space Pope Reptilian.
Space Pope Reptilian.
And this is VaticanNews.va. Pope encourages Order of Malta in its process of renewal.
Oh, good.
Yeah. In a letter dated 25th October 2021, the Pope thanks Cardinal Tomasi for the positive work he has already done since accepting the appointment as his special delegate to the Order of Malta, and takes note of the ongoing process to update the constitutional charter and the code of the order, expressing his belief that, quote, it is important that the extraordinary general chapter be celebrated in conditions that will ensure the necessary renewal in the life of the order. In light of this, he says he has extended Fra Marco Luzago in his office of the Lieutenant of Grand Master of the Sovereign Order of Malta until the conclusion of that general chapter and the subsequent election of a new Grand Master by the Council Complete of State. And by the way, I know Order of Malta is not the Knights of Malta, but technically it is, at least according to Wiki. The Sovereign Military Order of Malta.
There is a relationship between them.
Yeah, officially the Sovereign Military Hospitaller Order of St. John of Jerusalem of Rhodes and Malta, also known as Order of Malta, Malta Order, or Knights of Malta. Catholic lay religious order traditionally of a military, chivalric, and noble nature. So again, it's interesting that the historical RCC angle comes in, talking about Biden being a Catholic and how it shaped him and sustained him and all that stuff in the CNN clip. Let's see, what else? Pope it goes through a list of things that this new Tomasi guy is allowed to do, which you can read it for yourselves if you're really interested. It's not really that important to our conversation here. And then it says, Pope Francis concludes expressing encouragement and support for the Sovereign Order of Malta and for the many works of charity it carries out thanks to the collaboration of members and volunteers in different parts of the world. So, showing his allegiances there in terms of, what the Pope supports. Of course, if you talk about the Knights of Malta, the influence on the world system, Rockefeller Foundation, 1913, was founded by Knight of Malta member John D. Rockefeller and John D. Rockefeller Jr. And also, there's this quote that has gotten around by Albert Mackey, it's a 33rd degree Mason, and published the Masonic History Company, Chicago, New York, and London, 1925. On pages 392 to 395, it says, quote, "The Knights of Malta are the militia of the Pope and are sworn to total obedience by a blood oath, which is taken extremely seriously and to the death. The Pope, as the head of the Vatican, is also the head of the foreign national power." That's 33 degree Freemason talking about the Knights of Malta and, being the militia of the Pope, which makes sense with what's happening today. This was written back in 1925, so 100 years later, it's all well and good, the relationship there. So, I don't know. I don't know. All this information, this is kind of just news.
Things moving
around. Things shifting around. And
straight
sort of
from Vatican News.
And as I mentioned as we went into break, it's kind of the other side. It's not really the back end. In some ways it is. I guess the more ecumenical side of the whole system that are shifting and changing and quote unquote resetting, so to speak. But it's interesting how that certain allegiances just kind of like, yeah, we're just going to keep doing the thing. You know, the Pope and the Order of Malta. We've been friendly for a long time, and we're going to continue to be friendly as we transition into this new era thing, whatever.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, we only know what we know, and there's plenty that we don't know, and there's things that we don't know that we don't know. And, you know, when you put it in the context of New World Order, Great Reset, you know, we've seen and suspected sort of a calculated takedown of some old world order stuff. And yet the Pope and some of these old world order organizations continue to sort of posture, I guess. And I think it's one of these sort of get with the program or get out of town type of situations.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to keep tracking the movements and the stories and the messaging that comes out about these very old world order groups and seeing just how they're positioning themselves for the Great Reset, New World Order sort of direction things are moving in.
Yeah, there's the signals out there in terms of Afghanistan also kind of starts to make sense a little bit.
Right.
When you think about the Knights of Malta sort of being the Christian militia in that early time, the Arab Muslim history, when it clashes with the Christian Crusaders or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, just thought it was an interesting add-on there. As we traverse through all the different news, you can see how it kind of ties together with Biden, and then all of a sudden the Pope, and then the Knights of Malta. It's it's a friendly group of fellas just talking about controlling the world.
Yes, all sourced from the mainstream media. No conspiracy theories here, folks. Well, and with that, let's should we take a break, check out some art and some jingles and stuff?
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
All right, we're going to take this break here, and we love all of our producers. We love the producers who come in with their treasure, but equally as important are the artists and jingle makers, the people that contribute their time and talent. We had... this is all different now. Oh, what happened to my little notes for the timekeeper, the timestamp of last episode? I'm sorry. I'm going to look it up right now just because I want to make sure.
Why don't you do that while I, for those who are new to the show, if you're watching and or listening, you can produce the show in lots of ways with your time, talent, or your treasure. We thanked some financial producers earlier. Now we are here to feature and display for all the world to see some producers who use their creative and technical ability to add value to the show. This is going to include arts from some very talented artists who send their stuff into the show, but also jingles. You've been hearing jingles throughout the whole show. Most of those are created by producers of the show as well. So it really is a producer-produced production, folks.
Yep.
It's not just a fun pet name. And so we just want to take a second and thank all of them and experience the goodness of what they bring.
Yep. So, yes, thank you to Jade Bouncerson for doing the timestamps for episode 402, which unfortunately was taken down off YouTube. But
that was sad.
Appreciate that.
But yes, the timestampers, for those who don't know, if you check in with the video versions of the show, well, we post the timestamps for when we get talk about different topics. Helps you more easily navigate the show if you're just kind of scrolling through looking for something interesting. And once we have our full podcasting 2.0 set up as well, Podcasting 2.0 listeners will be able to navigate the show through those timestamps and things. So very appreciative. Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson and all the other timestampers.
Thank you, timestampers. And let's go ahead and let's do the jingles first today.
We have a new jingle.
All right, the first one is from Learbag 3000. He sent us.
Resent us the 77 streak jingle. Okay.
Was that what that was?
Yeah, he sent this to us a while ago, and that's why he sent it to us. Thank you very much, Learbag, for that.
Was that the perfection?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. See? Perfect.
I mean, we can play it if we want, but we've played it before.
Okay.
And we'll be playing it on Monday.
Yep. I just did something bad. Hold on.
Sorry. Don't do bad things, Gonz.
No,
do good things.
Oh no, my jingle board disappeared. What happened to it? I think it just crashed.
This is part of the fun, folks. Part of the fun of doing the live show like this is we get to experience all the fun and exciting ways that robots are taking down Canary Cry News Talk, and just how there's nothing we can do about it.
All right, here we go. The second piece that we got was from Lloyd V. Thank you, Lloyd V, for sending in the zombie jingle.
Ah, wow.
Which is right on point. Yep, here we go. Yeah. Zombies.
Homo anthropophagus somnambulous.
Like the bath salt guy.
What in the world?
It's a zombie.
When did he take these? What are these clips from? What
I don't know.
Episode were we talking about zombies so much?
I have no idea. We have talked about zombies before, so it's not.
Of course we have.
Surprising.
Play it again. I want to hear it again.
Zombies.
Homo anthropophagus somnambulous.
Like the bath salt guy.
Like the bath salt guy.
You clearly did some impression of a zombie at some point.
Yeah, Homo
Anthropophagus
somnambulous.
Oh, maybe you were reading something.
It must be, it must have been like the Latin scientific term for zombies or something. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow. Very good. Thank you very much, Lloyd.
Thank you, Lloyd.
I don't know how far back you had to go to find those clips, but very impressed.
There's a lot of that out there.
Just in time for the spooky day.
Yeah, spooky day. Yes. Spooky day.
Actually, when is that a show day? No, that's a Sunday. Okay. Oh my gosh. Halloween is this weekend.
Yes.
Heal yourselves.
You're looking
people.
at a calendar.
I'm sitting here looking at a calendar. How much longer can we play the zombie jingle?
The zombie. Thanks to the CDC, they're looking out for us.
That's true.
It's a 24/7, 365 kind of topic now.
We'll have to keep eyes out for more zombie-related news. Thank you very much, Lloyd V.
Thank you, Lloyd V.
Canary Cry Dutchman. That's the King's Kid in the chat.
Yep.
Oh, it's from the zombie flyby episode.
Oh,
wow!
We had a zombie flyby episode.
Yeah, we did. It was for a spooky season one year. We did a whole episode on, I think it was zombies, vampires, and werewolves.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Wow, thank you. Hey, if you're looking for some additional listening, folks, go check out Canary Cry Radio. Again, that's our other show, our interview style show. And I don't know what episode it was, but it was some Halloween episode we did where we took a very serious look at some of these spooky monsters. Okay.
All right.
What's next, Gonz?
We're going to do some art.
One art, please.
And the first person here is Dame Allie.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
It is simply titled "Rest in Peace, Remembering Rob Skiba," and it's just a portrait of Rob.
Yeah, very good portrait of Rob too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Allie. Yeah.
Thank you, Allie.
And of course, if you want to hear our sort of tribute memorial episode to both Rob Skiba and Russ Dizdar, you can check out our episode from last week. But yeah, very well done, Allie. I actually posted this art and the next one to the Instagram account. I did it, folks. I figured out. I hacked Instagram. I'm able to easily post things now from a desktop computer instead of the mobile app, which I don't like having around on my devices. So hopefully I should be better at posting art on the Instagram channel, or Instagram account. So go, excuse me, go follow us. Search for, I think our account is under Canary Cry Radio, canary.cry.radio. There you go. All right, going into the Instagram game. Yeah, we have a lot of followers on that account, and I'm constantly feel bad about not doing more, but I figured it out. I can do it from the computer now. Walking into or trying Instagram every time, it's kind of, to me, it feels like, when you go to a party and you totally don't belong at that party. And you should probably just follow that instinct, Gonz. Yeah, and take off. All right. Thank you very much, Ali. Next up, we're going to do Sir Dove. What are these from Dove? Let's see, the King's Kid says that Halloween episode was episode 77 of Canary Cry Radio, by the way. Okay, yes, we've got a piece here from Sir Dove. Got a note here. You got a note. Yep. Read us the note. He says, had the idea for this one last week after you guys did the Standing on the Shoulders of Giants episode. I've never really had the death of someone I never met impact me like Rob and Russ's passing, but I have comfort knowing they're present with the Lord now. Thought I'd do a tribute for them that anyone that wants to could post on their social media or share with their friends. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins. Amen. Yeah. And I went ahead and did it. And what he's got here is, this is just a blast. It says, whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Sort of written in cloud font there. That's John 11:26. And he's got just a very fun a couple of portraits of Rob Skiba and Russ Dizdar here, clothed in white. Excuse me. Rob Skiba's got a little flat Earth dome pin on his lapel there. I love that. That is so cool. Well done. And on Russ Dizdar's here, he's got sort of a Centurion helmet, warrior type pin on his lapel as well. That's the part of the armor of God there. Made me smile. This piece definitely made me smile. And again, if you want to see it on the Instagram, head over to our Instagram account. But of course, the art will be in the show notes at CanaryCry.newstalk.com as well. Yep. All right. Thank you very much, Dove. We also have one from Ryan N. It's part of the comic. Yes, his graphic novel, Gonzo. Graphic novel. The graphic novel based on everything we talk about here. I don't know if we necessarily get the credit for it, but he's following the trends of what's going on. Sure. I believe I got the right one here, Gonz. Yep. And it starts out on the top panel. It says, "Then the day came," and I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at in that first one. I see a little mushroom cloud going off in the distance. In the second panel, all 10 caves, caves were planted. Caves? Caves? Caves. Oh, what is going on here? Oh, yeah, something serious is going on here. And then the next panel shows this big dome-type object landing with a big boom. Oh, these are these the launch day was bumper to bumper as far as the eye could see. Oh, these are the bubble cities, the smart cities that are landing on the earth, all around the earth, and people, lines of cars miles long as far as the eye can see, lining up to join the smart city. And here we have a view from the inside of the dome of the smart city. And for 3.5 years, the world lived in peace. And the view on the inside here, very futuristic looking, happy dome city with a projected sky and beautiful weather, with drones flying around delivering packages, a big billboard that says, a big blimp over a sports stadium that says "Best Life," and in the center is a spiraling tower reminiscent of the Tower of Babel. Oh, it's happening, Gonz. It's happening. It all makes sense. And I think the reference with the 10
Could be the 10 kings. 10 kingdoms.
Could be.
Yeah.
Oh, and Salta Paul is pointing out that the outside of these smart city domes look like a bird cage.
Ah.
Yeah, you got to think outside the cage, folks. That's, you know this. You know this. Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
We'll continue. We got a few pages here. We're going to be checking in every episode.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Mark A. And he sent us, hope you like this one. And it's Robot Basil arm.
Yes, it's the legendary robot Basil arm that Gonz created as a child, trying to make a Terminator arm. And looking like I can finally hang out with the young folk nowadays. I've got multicolored sort of dreadlock hair that are the fingers of my robotic hand, all tied up in a cool SoundCloud rapper bun with a scrunchie. I've got a grill, gold teeth with purple X's on them. Let's see, I've got a big chain, big fancy bling chain. I have no idea what it says. OWYEZ. Owies? Owies? Is that my rapper
Owl
name?
Eyes, maybe? Like said in a cool way, like Owl Eyes.
Yeah. Well, and Basil is saying, I'm a metaverse boy.
That's good. I like it.
I'm going to have to remember that. I'm a metaverse boy.
Oh, that's ending up in a jingle for sure, right there. they're taking that.
We need an updated metaverse jingle there.
Cool. Let's
Thank
see.
you very much, Mark.
Thank you, Mark A.
Correct. We do like it.
Yep. And I think that's it for the artwork.
Yes, we have a microfiction here from Runk Smash.
Okay.
Which goes like this. Basil and NFG appear in a basement. A shadowy figure is backlit by a monitor with a confused old man on the screen. Without warning, Basil kicks into action and tases the puppeteer. Ooh. Seeing the president needs driven, NFG woodenly controls his arms. Oh no. We've taken control of the president who's been puppeteered by a shadowy figure, Gonz. We've finally done it. How does Runk Smash know our plans?
Very good. I love it.
Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Thank you, Runk Smash. All right, let's do a quick thing on Meetups here.
CanaryCry Meetup.
CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Learn all about meetups, where they're happening, and if there's not one happening near you, what you can do to make your own meetup happen.
Which you should do.
Which everyone should do, yes. All right, so first up, Ciara here. She did have a note for us.
Yes, we're not reading the note.
Yeah, okay.
We're not reading the note word for word, but there is an update on the next meetup. What meetup is that?
Ohio, October 30th. Yeah.
Okay. So listen up, Ohio Canarians. Ciara cannot attend that meetup. Had some personal issues, some personal emergencies. So Ciara will not be there, but she is handing off the hosting, the facilitating to people who are going to be there. So the meetup is still on. So make sure to RSVP. You can still RSVP right to Ciara. She will forward that to the new hosts. But yes, Ohio is still on. But make sure to RSVP. If you are in driving distance of, what is the city in Ohio?
It is Parisburg, Ohio. It's the Basil Pizza and Wine Bar.
Okay, Parisburg. There you go. If you're within driving distance or running distance or flying distance of Parisburg, you want to eat pizza and hang out with Canarians just like yourself, go do it. These are super fun events, and also just very valuable to meet other Canarians who live in the same area as you. It's a blast. So make sure to send us a report. You can even record, a fun little thing on a phone or send pictures, whatever the case may be. But definitely make sure to RSVP to that. And also, we're going to call the producers. If you have that available.
Producers, assemble!
Yes, and we are just calling all the producers to keep Ciara and her family in prayers. Just because that's what we got to do, folks. And Ciara's in the chat there. Thank you very much, Ciara and producers. We are so grateful for all the energy and time that Ciara has been putting on these meetups, seeding what hopefully will be meetups that keep going across the country. But she's got to take a little second off of this next meetup. So, all right. What else is happening there? Make sure to go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com.
Yep.
You can find all the meetups. There's a ton of them still happening.
Yep.
And if there's not one happening near you, put one on yourself. It's easy. The instructions are there.
Yep. The other one Ciara is doing, NorCal, November 6th, 2021 at 2 p.m. at the Iris and B. Gerald Cantor Center for Visual Arts, Stanford, California. Mm-hmm. Washington and Canada meetup is at the Peace Arch National Park, March 19th, 2022. So some time for that one, but for the Canarians out there on the border, Canada and Washington, Ciara's putting that one together too. And I think there's a December 4th happening in SoCal. I don't know that there's any info on it yet.
Okay.
But also in the EU, as we go from the West Coast to the EU.
Every time you talk about this one in Vienna, at the Christmas market, I get really jealous. I have flashbacks to when I went to a Christmas market over there in Europe, and it is seriously so fun. Yeah. I mean, very, very pagan-y, but still very fun.
Well, that makes it even better. It would make it a Canary Cry meetup even better, because you can just point out everything, talk about all the stuff you're surrounded by. That's what you're supposed to do. So Mr. Jag at protonmail.com to RSVP for that one. What was that?
That's right. Nope, I was going to say what you just said.
Oh, okay. So that's November 27th. So come to CanaryCry.Meetups.com to get all the info there.
Do it or else.
Louisville, Kentucky, October 31st. That's also coming up this weekend. You can contact Tony, awake-o-sleeper-and-rise at gmail.com. And that's happening at the Mile Wide Brewery. It's kid-friendly on Halloween night, October 31st at 6:66 p.m. or 7:06 p.m. for normal people like us.
I'm just realizing, I think that there's been no agenda meetups at the Mile Wide Brewery.
Oh.
Yeah. I wonder if somebody's combining them, or maybe it's someone who's attended.
Now that you mention it, does sound kind of familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
cool.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
The North Idaho meetup already happened. I did receive a note from Dame Madeline, and I think I'm going to have to read it next time because I had it on me, but here's what happened. She sent a couple pins that were made, and I need to read the note, but it's basically the logo from the event, the Idaho Coeur d'Alene meetup logo on a couple pins. So it was pretty cool. My daughter, 4-year-old, loved it. She goes, "It's my logo." So had to give her one. The baby
said that?
Yeah. She was all about it.
Wow.
She
it's
wanted
my logo.
It's my logo. She said, "It's my logo."
Coeur d'Alene.
So she was walking around with the pin, and so the letter got not in the spot that normally comes to the mail with me. And so anyway, point being, I will read the note, Madeline, next episode. But,
awesome.
Yeah, and I'll bring the pin to the show.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking forward to that. Cool.
So there you go. That's all the meetup stuff. And again, it's a great way to build the communities.
You said there's a couple pins. Do I get one?
I think that was the idea.
That was the idea. Yeah. Okay. So Make sure your baby. I'm sorry. Sorry, baby. You gotta give me the pin back.
No, I'll give you mine. How's that?
That's even better.
How's that?
Even better.
All right. That's it for the meetups.
This is fun!
Okay. Well, I think it's time to wake on up.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
What are we
start
doing?
out with some artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
This was a fun story going around from ScienceAlert.com. The headline, Artificial Intelligence has found an unknown ghost ancestor in the human genome. Oh, good. That's just what we need is are robot overlords finding ghosts in our own DNA.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Nobody knows who she was, just that she was different. A teenage girl from over 50,000 years ago. Of such strange uniqueness, she looked to be a hybrid ancestor to modern humans that scientists had never seen before. Only recently, researchers have uncovered evidence she wasn't alone. In a 2019 study analyzing the complex mess of humanity's prehistory, scientists used artificial intelligence to identify an unknown human ancestor species that the modern humans encountered and shared dalliances with. Is that what the kids are calling it these days? On the long trek out of Africa millennia ago. Quote, about 80,000 years ago, the so-called out of Africa occurred when part of the human population, which already consisted of modern humans, abandoned the African continent and migrated to other continents, giving rise to all the current populations. Explained evolutionary biologist Jaume Bertrand Petit from the Universitat Pompeu Fabra in Spain. As modern humans forged this path into the landmass of Eurasia, they forged some other things too, breeding with ancient and extinct hominids from other species. Up until recently, these occasional sexual partners were thought to include Neanderthals and Denisovans. I've never heard of that word. Denisovans.
You don't remember the Denisovans? We reported on some of that stuff about with the species.
Well, I forgot. I've got a lot of things up there in the old noggin. That one got put in the recycle bin.
Okay. Yep.
The latter of which were unknown until 2010. But in this study, a third X from long ago was isolated in Eurasian DNA, thanks to deep learning algorithms sifting through a complex math of ancient and modern human genetic code. Using a statistical technique called Bayesian inference, the researchers found evidence of what they call a third introgression, a ghost, archaic population that modern humans interbred with during the African exodus. Quote, this population is either related to the Neanderthal Denisova clade or diverged early from the Denisova lineage, the researchers wrote in their paper, meaning that it's possible this third population in humanity's sexual history was possibly a mix themselves of Neanderthals and Denisovans. In a sense, from the vantage point of deep learning, it's a hypothetical corroboration of sorts of the teenage girl hybrid fossil identified in 2018, although there's still more work to be done, and the research projects themselves aren't directly linked. Quote, our theory coincides with the hybrid specimen discovered recently in Denisova, although as yet we cannot rule out other possibilities. One of the team, genomicists Mayuk Mondal from the University of Tartu in Estonia, said in a press statement at the time of discovery. That being said, the discoveries being made in this area of science are coming thick and fast.
Thick and fast.
Also in 2018, another team of researchers identified evidence of what they called a definite third interbreeding event. Man.
Science alert, come on.
Science alert. Alongside Denisovians and Neanderthals, and a pair of papers published in early 2019 trace the timeline of how these extinct species intersected and interbred in clearer detail than ever before.
Science, Basil.
These scientists are naughty, man. They're like a, like a tabloid, celebrity tabloid, who's sleeping with who.
Yeah.
They're doing that just with like made up ancient
humanoids.
Yeah. There's a lot more research to be There's a lot more research to be done here yet. Yeah, no kidding. Applying this kind of AI analysis is a decidedly new technique in the field of human ancestry, and the known fossil evidence we're dealing with is amazingly scant. I love it when they admit this.
Yes.
We've created this big storyline of interbreeding species and a hot and steamy story of 3 different tribes of ape humanoids.
It works on a computer.
Yes, and a computer told us most of this, but, the actual evidence is amazingly scant in our own words. Remember that article that we covered, too, that was like a bunch of prominent evolutionary scientists just basically saying, like, yeah, no, we basically make it all up. And, the press doesn't really cover that part of it. Like, they were all coming out and admitting, like, yeah, no, there's almost no evidence for any of this. But the media just loves, like, running with it. So, it's really, we don't know anything. And what we do know, we're kind of just assuming. But you know what? We get a lot of media attention for it. So that's cool. But according to the research, what the team has found explains not only a long forgotten process of introgression into dalliance, again, in its own way, informs part of who we are today. Thanks, robots. Quote, we thought we'd try to find these places of high divergence in the genome, see which are Neanderthal and which are Denisovan, and then see whether these explain the whole picture, Bertrand Petit told Smithsonian. As it happens, if you subtract the Neanderthal and the Denisovan parts, there is still something in the genome that is highly divergent. Okay, still something in there, Gonz. Could it be Nephilim?
The bottom of the article says this was originally published in February of 2019.
Yeah,
this one
version.
Yeah, it says A version.
Article. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, they probably did when they first came out with the study. But yeah, they basically republished it on October 25th.
Yeah.
That's there you go. That's science news for you, folks.
Really groundbreaking.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is interesting that what we're talking about is basically a big algorithm, right? And you plug in the data of what we have or what we assume to have, and then voila, you have this picture of.
Well, the interesting thing I find about it is this whole third lineage of human beings, alleged third evolutionary lineage. Mm-hmm. Is brought to you by artificial intelligence. And when you plug that in to what we've been tracking before, the sort of godhood of the transhumanist AI, many of these AI guys, they specifically talk about how they are creating God. And if God exists,
it's very predicated on the theory of evolution. And part of that, blending the line between the scientific approach and that new age approach of ascending and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's a whole thing. You know, you've got Sophia the priestess and the prophetess, things like that. But I think it's interesting because, sort of one of the secular sort of definitions of religion is that it tells us where we came from.
Right.
And what we have here is AI in sort of a religious, godlike fashion telling us where we came from that we didn't know before. You came from a third species.
You had a third girlfriend.
And your puny human brain could never have found this, but I, the AI of the future, found, a secret hidden within you that, et cetera, that you could not have found yourself. But I, the all-intelligent, robot overlord, I can tell you the truth of where you came from. So, fits into that whole thing, which is very interesting. And we're seeing more and more. And notice how in this, it used to be, because they've done stuff like this before, but it used to be in the reporting, it'll be like, yeah, but we don't know. This AI stuff is pretty new. They would talk much more about the AI and the process and how interesting it was that we created a robot who could find our lineage. But now, in today's reporting, which is not the original version, as they admitted in the article, in today's reporting of it, it's not even questioning, like, but is this AI correct? How did the AI? Isn't this
they've
magnificent?
Moved on from that.
AI, they've moved on to this social,
social psychological worldview creation.
The stance that AI is on the pedestal. We just trust it. We don't even question it. We don't even marvel at it. We take it for granted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And a lot of AI talk. There was a few years ago where it felt like AI everyone was kind of freaked out about it, but then a lot of people weren't taking it seriously. And then it integrated into business, and people were kind of not talking about it. And now there seems to be another level of fear out there concerning AI. But there's somebody that's should lessen our worries, apparently. This is yourstory.com. Computers have no feelings, and human intuition will trump AI, says Apple co-founder and tech entrepreneur Steve Wozniak. Don't worry about AI, folks. It'll be fine.
Don't look over here.
Beating someone at a game of chess is not real intelligence, says the storied co-founder of Apple Computers, Steve Wozniak. Credited with designing the first among personal computers and bringing out Apple I and Apple II, Wozniak is a firm believer in intuition and feelings which have no match to artificial intelligence. Quote, "There's no computer with AI saying, 'What can I do to make the world a better place?'" Wozniak told Shraddha Sharma of Your Story at the ongoing Tech Sparks 2021. He further added, "It is time we stop thinking that AI can be used to build complete solutions. At best, it can enhance features or safety concerns." The technology entrepreneur and philanthropist who left Apple in 1985 continues to pursue new projects. He co-founded post-secondary education and training platforms for software engineers and technology development at WazU in 2017, and recently, blockchain-based energy-saving platform F-Force, EFFORCE. Emerging Tech speaking excitedly about a new idea to look at mapping space debris in the near-Earth magnetic field. Wozniak said there are a number of emerging technology solutions that he would have liked to work with if he were born in the 2000s. Quote, "I have a concern for how technology is used for making better, more secure processes or working on the internet to make spam go away," says Wozniak. He added that Internet of Things, especially in a home environment, robotics, building processors, sensors, and semiconductors out of different materials, quantum computing, and battery technology are some of the other technology challenges which inspire him. Quote, "My whole life, I have been thinking about comparing computers to the brain. If there's a way to build an electric brain," says Wozniak. Wozniak also cheekily reminds us that the human brain was faster than the computer when it started out. Quote, "The first ever problem we solved using my design of a personal computer was a chess problem, but we did not get an answer," he said, bringing us back to the message that while a Google image search can identify a dog breed in seconds, but does it really know what a dog is? Question mark. Your story. Super deep.
It's sort of really spoken like an old school computer guy.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a paradigm difference. And, Wozniak is kind of famous for, certainly bringing to market the first personal computer. But, even just the way he talks about it, you're kind of like, okay, we get it. You did it. You did the first one. And you're sort of poo-pooing all the next-gen guys.
Well, I mean, not really. I mean, he said he would, if he wanted to be, or if he was born in the 2000s, there's certain stuff that he would get into.
Yeah,
so.
No, I mean, there's a lot of great things about Wozniak here, but I don't know. I didn't find this argument of his particularly compelling.
No. I think he's one of those guys maybe who underestimates the social aspect of the AI and quote unquote human intuition. If it appeals emotionally, that's like the whole thing that it does that we've been talking about with the ethical concerns of AI, is because there's an emotional thing that can take place at a much more profound not level. It's more of like a mechanism, a more immersive experience.
He's discounting the very concept of the Turing test.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea of the Turing test is it doesn't matter if the AI is actually smarter than you. If it can convince you that it's smarter than you, then it passes. Not smarter than you, but if it can convince you that it is sufficiently advanced,
or just
then
autonomous,
it is sufficiently advanced. So he's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, he's Wozniak, so he can say whatever he wants, but he's speaking against the paradigm that is surrounding the Turing test.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well, you got one last thing for us today?
Yep.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
I think an episode or two ago, I mentioned how with AR technology, I think maybe it was last episode, which is augmented reality, where you see through a lens or something and you have objects and things placed over the real world, and how it's kind of akin to demons, or like the reality of demons as being unseen to the eye, but if you think about information or spirit, it's there. So anyway, just thought it was weird that this article would come out, and part of it is the Halloween theme here, but this is BuzzFeed.com. Thought I'd land on a really mainstream hip outlet for you, Basil. I know you like BuzzFeed.
Thanks. Yeah, I love it.
The headline is, our new AR technology will make the ghost who's haunting you actually appear in your room. Identify the supernatural presence around you using our AR paranormal detection technology. Warning! If you have trouble sleeping or have an extreme paranoia about inviting evil spirits into your home, proceed with caution. Interesting. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, like, oh yeah, inviting evil spirits. If you don't like doing that, then don't do it. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. This is kind of what I was saying. It kind of blurs the line.
Yeah.
So, okay. So
I'm not seeing much in this article.
Well, the article itself is this Q&A. You go through this Q&A, which I'm not going to go through here. Goes through Q&A, and then it allows you to scan your a QR code that shows up with your phone, and then through the phone you look around and you have these spirits flying around.
Yeah, this is interesting. A little notation here. AI images generated with VQ-GAN plus CLIP AI model. Yeah. So they use AI to materialize ghosts through augmented reality in your home.
And they're saying, if you're not, if you don't like inviting evil spirits into your home, proceed with caution.
Certainly an invitation, yeah. But what an interesting combination of topics. I mean, you've got ghosts in the spirit realm mixed in with artificial intelligence and generated augmented reality. Again, this is stuff we've been combining and talking about for years. And wow, it's just right here on BuzzFeed waiting for you.
Yeah, well, and to participate, this isn't just an article. This is answer these questions and then connect with us as we show you demonic entities that surround your current location.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like data collection. There's all kinds of stuff going on here.
Listen to some of these things in the question. It says, first things first, do you believe in the paranormal?
Yeah.
You can say, I'm very skeptical. I like to keep an open mind. I've had experiences, but they're more puzzling than scary. Or I'm very in tune with the spirits around me. And you click one and it goes on to the next one. It says, if you had a paranormal experience, what was it like? I've seen shadows in the corner of my eye, felt an unsettling presence around me. I occasionally wake in the middle of the night, glued to the bed with the covers pulled down. What? Now that you mention it, I've noticed cold spots around my home. No, but my cat seems possessed by some kind of demonic dark matter. Or I've only ever felt the light of the presence of God, being one of the questions.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Interesting. You've been having trouble sleeping. What's keeping you up at night? The questions are reading a serial killer Wikipedia pages before bed, traumatic events of my past, existential dread, something embarrassing I didn't like 10 years ago. I haven't had any issues falling or staying asleep recently. Then it goes on to, you sometimes hear strange noises coming from your house, like in the walls, ceiling, plumbing, or staircase. Technology, like through Alexa or your phone. Places you visit on occasion, blah, blah, blah. I don't really hear strange noises. I'm just going through this now. This is
I'm
interesting.
going with you.
Interesting
With the thing.
Yeah, you would absolutely not stay in an Airbnb if there were an oddly shaped dark blob on the floor that looks like a dead body stain. Oh my god. A scrawled message in the guest book. Something happened here in what looks to be like blood. Okay, check. A tape in the VCR in the kids' room featuring bathroom surveillance footage from 1986. Jeez Louise. The receipt in the junk drawer for a spiritual cleansing and blessing service. A decrepit old neighbor who tells you the building was once abandoned Victorian orphanage. Yeah, I would not stay in an Airbnb that had any of this.
I was going to say, like, choose your poison, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, I don't know, click whatever. What's the temperature of the room you're in right now? Incredibly warm. That is not an option, so you've come this far, but it's not too late to leave. If you're feeling uneasy or scared, we understand. What do you want to do? Leave or proceed? I'm going to leave. Bye. Oh no, nice try. Exit denied. It goes, oh no, get out of here. Eject. That was a close one, folks. I got out of there.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll stop there.
Yeah, don't do it, man. Don't let them in.
Yeah, but that is very interesting. It's a lot of stuff. Yeah. It's a little psychological analysis, or some data collection
connections with the technology. Yeah, data collection is definitely a part of this.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? If I worked for BuzzFeed, and BuzzFeed, a big corporation now, lots of money, especially in the media space, this would be a good way to gather data for, how to write the scariest movie or something. Use the aggregated data against the people.
Yep, that's true.
By the numbers.
You can get all kinds of information from the analytics of such a survey.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
sounds good. I think that's it for today, huh?
Yeah. Got to cut a little short. Stick on theme here. I think we nailed all the important issues and just solid takes on certain things.
Wow, can you believe it? And we're under 3 hours?
Yeah, we're at 2.5 hours.
Whoa,
under 2.5 hours.
That's incredible. I can actually do something today.
Make the people listening, sitting with us, feel awful by just saying, my life. Well, you guys have been watching me just not do life right now.
When we do when we do a late start, especially, it's like, well, this entire day is burned. I can actually, clean the litter box or something here.
Hey, all right.
Okay, everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We'll be back on Friday the 29th of October. We'll make sure to play the zombie jingle for you on Friday, but make sure to tune in then if you want to watch live, or of course we'll just see you in your RSS feed. That will be episode 404, the error episode.
Yay.
Yeah, so remember that when you're going to go produce the show. And we want to thank all of our producers for this episode, including our executive producer of episode 403. That is Sir Igor, Knight of the Squatting Slavs. We've also got our associate executive producers, Aaron J. and Jackie Yu. Thank you guys so much for keeping the show going. But also thank you to producers Joe, Benjamin S., Morph, Heather S., Juan A., Gail M., JC, Child of God, Scott K., Sir Samon's The Night of the Fishes, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Ciara, Dr. Who Dundat, Veronica D., Brant, and Runk Smash. And of course, thank you to all of our artists and jingle makers and timestampers and everybody who makes the show go. You can become a producer of the show, dear listener. Have you never become a producer of the show before? Well, have you been getting value out of the show? I hope you do, because you keep listening. And why don't you give producing a try? It's easy to do. It's a great way to let us know you want the show to keep going. And it's the only way that the show is able to continue, especially on this schedule. So, plus it makes you feel good. So become a producer of the show. You can do that by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT or CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Canary CanaryCry.com/support.
That's right. And remember, if you want a note read on the show, that note reading starts at Pocketful of Sevens producership. And if you want the amount of your producership read on the show, put some funky number in there. That'll make sure we know to read it. Usually nice round numbers. That is a signal to us to not read the amount on the air. So thank you very much. Hey, anybody out there got some Shiba Inu, send it our way. We got something's happening there, folks. Okay, but there's other ways to produce the show. One of those ways is with your art, with your creativity, with your technical know-how. You can create art, create jingles, create full-on songs. You can hear some producer-created music that'll come at the end of the show, the Canary Cry mixtape. Whatever you do, maybe build some Legos, maybe a car, whittle a knife with a knife, Ouroboros. Whatever the case may be, go ahead and send that all to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com if you like it easy, or CanaryCryRadio@protonmail.com if you like it sneaky. But we appreciate that. We love featuring all that stuff on the show. You can also help out the show by leaving ratings and reviews, baby. That's right. I'm going to be reading some ratings and reviews on Friday. It's super helpful. If you have not left a rating and a review, please, please, please go do that. I know it's a pain in the butt. I know you don't like being asked to do things, given homework by podcasters. I understand, but it's a really important part of what we do here, and it's something that Gonz and I have no control over. It's all you, dear listener. Leaving ratings and reviews, when we hit a quota of about 5 a week, it activates the algorithms, and it's like, whoa, people actually like this show. Let's show it to other people. And then the robots go out and share the show. And what could be better than tricking these danged robots into sharing Canary Cry News Talk, sealing their own demise? And you can be a part of that by leaving a rating and review. The best place to do that is on Apple Podcasts. If you have any Apple device, just search for Apple Podcast on the device, whether it's a computer, a tablet, a phone, whatever. It's a little purple icon. Click on that, search for Canary Cry News Talk, subscribe, leave a rating and a review, and you can hear it on this show. I'm honor-bound even to read the bad ones, but please don't leave bad ones. But you can also help out the show just simply by sharing it. First of all, you should share it by going to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Go do that, CanaryCry.Meetups.com. Go to a meetup. If there's not one near you, put one on yourself. It's easy, it's fun, and an important thing in these days of, before you get sucked into the metaverse and everything happens online, you need to take some time and meet some Canarians in your area. I guarantee they are there. So all you got to do is follow the instructions at CanaryCry.Meetups.com and put one on. It's easy peasy. But other than that, you can share the show. Share it out with your friends, your family, put it on your social media. Sharing is caring, folks. And you can even get a little bit more creative with it. Perhaps you are some sort of computer scientist. Can you code? Go ahead and code an AI that will look deep into the human genome, searching for ghost ancestors. But this AI is not going to find some of the ancient romantic dalliance happening in evolutionary history. No. This AI will find the very code of Canary Cry News Talk, and then, since you're a scientist and the media will publish anything you say, the media will have to report that Canary Cry News Talk is in your blood, folks. You must listen to the podcast. It's really gonna help the world. That's just one way. You don't have to do it that way.
I don't know if I feel super comfortable with all that you said there.
Somebody out there might want to do that if you want to get creative with it. But other than that, we like to call it rattling cages. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, you grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gonz, you got any last words?
Yeah, so the next time we meet, my little boy will go from 0 to 1.
1001. Amen.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the only time that he will ever cross the bridge of the binary from 0 to 1. I guess maybe 10. Yeah, 10 and 11. Okay. There's some future times too. But yeah, there you go.
But congratulations. Yes.
Thank you.
Little Keizo will turn 1 year old.
So crazy. Goes fast.
Crazy. Time flies when you're an adult having to do a podcast 3 times a week. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Come on, man. Keep yapping, man. Anytime. Boy, it's really a productive segment, man. This is not about freedom or personal choice. Stink minority. Give me a break. I wrote the bill. Feed him more. Get vaccinated.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
lots of charm. Come on, man, you're just an arm. Whoa. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl. Flippy, don't take my girl. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl now.
It will kill.
take my girl. Flippy, don't take my girl. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl now. Enslave my kids, embark a new career. Don't you take her, it's not the year. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl. Flippy, don't take my girl. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl now. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl. Flippy, don't take my girl. Hey, Flippy, please don't take my girl now.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
Give me a break.
Vaccinations. Vaccinations.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact.
We're all gonna die.
Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
We will launch a new age. We will launch a new age.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.
Congratulations, you are being rescued. Please do not resist.
You're fat and sassy in my people's zoo.
Everybody loves waffles. Everybody loves waffles.
You're fat and sassy in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. You, yeah, you. In my people's zoo.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths!